Hello and welcome everybody. Hello. It's another day, another stream. Hi, my name is Princess Evelyn. If you don't know who I am, I'm a streamer here on Twitch, and I post the VODs for all my videos on YouTube / @princessevillanvods. So if you missed the last episode of Cinderella Phenomenon, or Okami, or 99 Spirits, and you're looking to get more content from me, go ahead and go to my linktr, linktr.ee/princessevillan, and you can find all my links there. Anyways, today we are playing more with Cinderella Phenomenon, and I'm excited to, because I want to finish Rumpel's route today. So let's not waste any time, let's just jump right into it. What were we doing last with Rumpel? A lot of saves. Let's see. This was the last one. What were we even doing? I don't remember. I guess we were out on the town today with Rumpel. What a brilliant day. The sun is shining, the town is full of laughter, and I have my sweet princess here to accompany me. I cannot help but groan at Rumpel's optimism, because we were both sent out to run errands. Because everyone thinks we make a wonderful couple. Oh my gosh. No, because we're partners. Partner, the couple, it may as well be the same thing. I mean, kind of. Half the time Rumpel says some deep things, but then he says things like that. It's like he has two personalities. No, it is not the same thing at all. I take out the list and scour it for things we need to buy. More than half of it is already crossed out. I glance at the bags Rumpel is carrying. He refuses to let me carry any one of them, insisting that it would be impolite to force the load on me. That leaves me with list duty. This is a lot more laid back than what I have to do at the merchant. Okay, now we have the general medicine restock for Anise. My area of expertise. Never fear, my sweet princess. I will find everything we need. We already have a list. But Rumpel just hums enthusiastically as we continue on our way, and I'm not entirely sure if he heard me or not. We arrive at the little medicine shop in the central plaza. A man exits through the front door, coughing so loudly people turn their head to stare at him. I wait for the man to pass so that I can open the door to the store, but then I notice that Rumpel hasn't budged beside me at all. His eyes do a quick scan of the man before he slowly begins to walk towards him. Sir, you are sick. Eh? What's it to you? Even if I was sick, lad, there's nothing I can do if I don't have any money. Besides, it's not like this will kill me, it's just a cough. How long have you had your cough, sir? It seems like such a minor thing, but Rumpel suddenly looks so serious about it. He looks at the man with his eyes slightly narrowed, as if trying to see past him. It's been with me for more than 3 days. Coughs are pesky things, aren't they? They're usually the last thing to go, but at least they're not deadly most of the time. Even if you can't buy the medicine, sir, there are others at-home remedies that might help you with your cough. Boy, I've already tried warm tea. My wife's given me enough of that. Water is good for your throat too, sir. Any kind of steam works too. If the cough is riddled with mucus, it'll be easier to expel with steam. That's very true. That's very, medically sound. When you can't afford the medicine, sometimes the simple things will help, and coughs stay for a while, so don't fret if you can't get rid of yours immediately. Well, I appreciate the advice. Not exactly what a doctor would tell me, but it'll have to do. The man thanks Rumpel before walking off. I notice Rumpel looking at the ground, a rather forlorn expression on his face. Is what he said true? About what, princess? About doctors not giving advice about at-home remedies? Most of the doctors don't believe in such things. They always think that medicines work better than at-home or herbal remedies. The medicines do help, but sometimes they aren't necessary. Yet you just gave him advice. Not everyone can afford medicine. Being a doctor means helping people, not taking advantage of their sickness to steal their money. Money was never a problem at the palace. Whenever I was sick, the palace staff made sure I had the best and most effective medicines. Do you remember what you were like as a doctor? I wanted to help everyone that showed up at my doorstep. Sometimes I couldn't, and it frustrated me. I prescribed medicines when necessary, I gave advice other times, and when things were dire, I performed small operations. He does seem a lot more serious when he's talking about health. Rumpel was silent for a few moments before his eyes lighted up once again. Anyway, shall we go stock up on our medicine? I thought you said medicine wasn't always helpful. It's because it's not. But I also know that Anise usually uses But I also know that Anise uses mostly herbs, and that she tries to handle things without too much medication. She's quite capable. We enter the shop, and in no time at all, Rumpel spots the items on our list. We use up the rest of our money to buy the medicine and the remedies that we need, and then we begin to head back to the tavern. On the way there, Rumpel strikes up a conversation again. So, Princess, have you given any thought to what I said before? About what? You've already forgotten? About making people happy. Oh, is that what you're talking about? What? You know, you can make me happy right here and now by giving me a kiss on the cheek. I stare blankly at him before walking away. No, thank you. And alas, my hopes are dashed again. When we're at the outskirts of town, I pause and turn around. It is as if I can feel eyes on my back, but I do not see anyone openly staring at me. Is someone watching me? Suddenly I feel warmth in my hand, then my fingers interlace through mine. Rumpel pulls me a little closer, his expression oddly gentle. Don't worry, my sweet princess, you're safe with me. Gasp. Suddenly his face is a lot closer to mine, and I can see his features more closely. It is like night in the forest. Except his face is not marred by the same shadows. I don't know what that means. Oh, it is like the night in the forest, except his face is not marred by same shadows. Okay. She's talking about the last time Rumpel was really close to us. Okay. There is caution in his eyes, but it is not directed at me. Did you see someone following you? No, I just thought I felt someone looking at me. Better stay together then. We begin walking again. Are we gonna get kidnapped again? Are we just gonna get kidnapped in every story? The two of us begin to head back to the merchant. Rumpel has all the bags in one hand now. He hums a little bit as we walk. It is remarkably peaceful, so much so that I do not even mind him holding my hand. I suddenly feels a lot safer. I'm so lost in reverie that I do not even notice when we turn and go in the opposite direction. This is not the way back to the merchant. On the contrary, it's just a more scenic path. Don't you like the forest, Princess? The shafts of light coming in through the canopies, the soft blades of grass that tickles your ankles. It's such a romantic place. No matter what he says, this does not lead back to the merchant. It is not a scenic path or a path at all. Huh. I think we should keep walking. I'm gonna save first, though. We're gonna overwrite the save, return. Let's keep walking, see what happens. Because I like the forest. It is picturesque, isn't it, Princess? It is, but this still does not lead back to the merchant. No, but I figure taking this detour is safer. If someone is watching you, they're less likely to follow us straight to the merchant. Safer, but it's just the two of us. I have faith that I would be able to protect you, Princess. Also, the forest is a maze in and of itself. I suddenly stop and let my hand fall away from his as I stare up at him. I wasn't expecting that level of cleverness from Rumpel. Rumpel looks proud of himself. He takes a step forward, bridging the short distance between us, and then suddenly his fingers are around my wrist again. But he does not interlace his fingers through mine. Instead, he takes my hand in his and pulls it up to his face. Before I realize it, my hand is on his cheek, his hand cupping my own. I'm gonna get a... Yep, that's what I thought. We saw this cutscene in the beginning. Princess, you can trust me, always, I mean. I can sense that sometimes you trust me, sometimes you don't. But you don't need to be so cautious around me. I shower you with compliments because I believe you deserve them. I tell you that I enjoy being around you because I do. I should be focused on his words, but all I can look at are his eyes. His eyes are pretty. What do I need to do for you to fully trust me? Mother told me that people lie, so how can I trust that everything he says is the truth? Perhaps if I stopped throwing compliments at you, you would not be you without all the compliments. Ugh. What am I saying? I'm always complaining about his compliments, but the thought of Rumpel without compliments is strange. So you do enjoy my compliments, sweet princess. No, What? Words have deserted you? I understand. Being so close to me would have that effect on any woman. Oh my god. Something bright and angry flares up inside me, something that I don't understand. I pull my hand away from him and scowl on my face. Was it my big mouth again, princess? Come on, let us go back to the merchant. I start walking ahead and Rumpel rushes to catch up with me. I clench my fingers and let out a silent sigh. Rumpel was being nice to me again, but I always reject his kindness, because it cannot be real. Okay, that does not seem to have been the right choice. So let's go back. Oh, nope, I want to load. Load, Rumpel. We're gonna stop walking. I instantly root myself in place, and even though Rumpel is far taller than me and far stronger, he stops after noticing that I am no longer walking. Oh, Princess, did you want to stop and admire the scenery? Why are you taking me through here? I do not care about scenery, and I do not care about walking anywhere with you. Ah, Princess, your honesty really is a treasure. One day I'll make it so you could enjoy going places with me, not just holding my hand. I quickly slide my hand out of his, and my face feeling somewhat hot. Ah, there's that sweet rosiness to your cheeks. You never answered my question. It's a detour. We're only going to be in here for a few minutes. If you thought someone's eyes on you, it's better to divert their attention away from the march-in. And before you say it's dangerous, yes it is, but we're still not far away enough from town to worry about your safety. And I believe I can protect you. There we go. There's our good girl points. He wants us to resist him at every turn. Every time we have a moment with him, we're supposed to resist whatever he's trying to get us to do. Almost every time. Won't you compliment my cleverness, sweet princess? He takes a step forward, bridging the short distance between us, and suddenly his fingers are around my wrist again. Oh, we saw this. Okay, this is the same. Yeah, this is the same scene we saw last time. Okay, so let's fast forward. There we go. Now we're back at the merchant. Alright. Okay, let's see. Days go by. I consider Rumpel's advice, but I refuse to flirt with anyone again. Yeah, flirting with people probably isn't the right way to go about getting a good deed. But I have no idea how to make anyone happy. Rumpel told me that I cannot make anyone happy without knowing anything about them and listening to them like I did with the niece. But what reason do I have to listen to people? This is so frustrating. Days later, Rumpel and I sat at a table waiting for our work orders. Rumpel is on the verge of conversation when we suddenly hear Parfait speaking in the doorway. Rumpel picks up on the words before I do and rushes over to the front door. He looks almost nervous. Who's at the front door? I excuse myself briefly, telling Anise that I will be back. I make my way over to the front door, and there I see 3 people in conversation. Oh, there's Rumpel, Parfait, and a very pale man. The pale man looks like death itself, like he might just keel over. I can help him. Rumpel. He needs help. He can stay in my room instead. I can even restock the medicines on my own if I need be. So please, let me help him. There's a desperation in Rumpel's eyes that I've never seen before. He looks at Parfait pleadingly, all the while holding the man by the shoulder to steady him. What is happening? Oh, Princess, this man heard about Rumpel through one of the men at the tavern. He's sick and doesn't have a lot of money to pay for treatment. He came here seeking Rumpel. He must have been able to find this place because he was cursed. Does he even have the money to pay? Rumpel turns to me with a frown on his face. I've never seen him look at me so sternly. Princess, do you remember what I told you before? He was insistent that a doctor's #1 priority was to help their patient, regardless of their monetary situation. Very kind. Take him to your room then, Rumpel. I will have Anise assist you if she's willing. No, Anise does not need to worry herself. I think she'd want to help you. The two cut their discussion short when the man starts coughing, and a terrible hacking cough that paralyzes him. Rumpel steadies him, and then he begins to slowly move him towards his room. Don't worry, Princess. He'll be fine. What? I can see the worry on your face. Rumpel will be fine. Why would I worry about Rumpel? Because it's not like you to worry about someone you don't know at all. He looks so alarmed. I've never seen Rumpel look like that before. It's not like him. Rumpel knows what he's doing. I'll have someone else assist you with serving today, so no worries. Parvati comes through on her promise. When I go back to the bar, both Anise and Rumpel are gone. Karma, or Miss Karma, is there instead, looking disgruntled. Waltz would be better at this. Why do I have to help? Because Waltz is busy doing his puppet shows, and Rumpel is helping a sick man. Oh, well, I guess there's nothing to do about this then, other than enjoy it. He flips his hair and smiles brilliantly. I will attract all the customers today. Perhaps we should have a competition, Princess. Compete with yourself. I'm really not in the mood for karma right now. And I shall definitely compete with myself, because challenging yourself is important. Karma picks up waiting tables fairly easily. I notice that he speaks very fondly to the girls, but they are not as receptive as they are with Rumpel. Many times they ask Karma where Rumpel is, and he seems agitated when he tells them that Rumpel is busy. They seem just as irritated. Once my break starts, I meet Karma at the bar. He looks depressed. I guess if you and Rumpel competed to woo girls, he would win. That's not true, because if he was dressed as a man, then he would definitely win, because his curse. Yeah, right there, yeah. Darling, if I were to shed my disguise right here and now, I would be the clear victor. Since without his disguise, women flock to me, it is rather uncomfortable to have every woman in Angiel fall in love with you. Yep. You look like you're judging me, Princess. Because I am. Leica! Shush! My dog is barking in the background. If only you understood my plight. Karma and Rumpel may speak similarly, but they are still so different. Karma is the type to complain. Rumpel never complains. He's overworking himself for someone else, just like he went out of his way to apologize to me many times. My heart sinks a little bit as I think of him and Anise helping out the sick man. Rumpel did not even want Anise going up there, so he probably wouldn't want me up there either. I could try to go visit him, or I could go back to my room. Let's go back to our room. I don't think we're gonna solve anything by going over to Rumpel's room. So it's just, I think if there's a scene in Rumpel's room that we have to do, it's gonna be after we go back to our room. So this is what I think we should do. I should not bother him. What was that, Princess? It is nothing. If you don't want to bother Rumpel, you can always spend some time down here with me. I could give you some advice about your good deeds, too. You? I stare at him. Carmen puts a hand over his chest and sighs dramatically. I'm offended, Princess. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice Delora looking expectantly at Karma. He notices her and then sighs out dramatically. If I had more time, I would give you advice. Karma walks off and I consider his words. Then, after a few moments, I shake the words from my mind and start walking. As I'm heading up to my room, I hesitate, knowing Rumpel's door is close by. Earlier, he looked so stressed. I think I should go see him. Yeah, she goes anyways, so I make my way over to what I think is Rumpel's door. The door is slightly ajar and I hear hushed voices on the other side. Those voices definitely belong to Anise and Rumpel. I slowly push the door open and quietly step inside. Okay, so this is gonna lead us inside anyways, so let's just pick to go inside. Yeah, let's just go to Rumpel's room. I think I'll go check on him. Check on Rumpel. I hadn't realized I was speaking aloud. I look at Karma, who furrows his eyebrows at me slightly. I honestly don't know how you can stand him as a partner. Why do you dislike Rumpel so much? A lot of things, Princess. That fight is between us and doesn't involve you. Then do not involve me. You have no need to comment on us being partners. Karma looks at me wide-eyed and a little shocked. Then a sort of knowing comes into his eyes and he smiles, just a little bit. Yes, I think you should go visit him, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to get him off your mind, would you? There's our good girl points. He laughs a little before picking up his tray and rushing off to continue his shift. I slowly make my ways upstairs, my feet feeling heavy. For some reason, I feel like Karma was right. I make my way over to what I think is Rumpel's door. The door is slightly ajar and I hear hushed voices on the other side. Those voices definitely belong to Anise and Rumpel. I slowly push the door open and quietly step inside. Rumpel and Anise are standing over the man, who is covered in blankets and coughing. A series of bottles sits on the table close by. None of these herbal remedies are working. We need a medicine for this. I'm sorry I don't have any more money to offer, Rumpel. Anise, please don't sound so sad. You've already tried helping as much as you possibly can. It's my fault for promising to buy the medicine that we need. I glanced at the table where a list is sitting. Beautiful cursive handwriting details everything that the patient needs. Everything is circled except for some medicine at the very bottom that has a star next to it. Is that Rumpel's handwriting? Suddenly the two of them turn. They both look shocked to see me. Princess, what are you doing here? I came to see how you were doing. Princess, I'm fine, but... He glances down at the man on the bed, and he sighs out a little bit. We've given him what we can, but the only medicine that we need is something we can't afford. Even with the money I'm getting from Lady Parfait, it isn't enough. I walk into the room and glance at the list. I look over at the total for the medicine, then at the coins on the table that I hadn't noticed before. Did Rumpel use all his money for this stranger? What will happen if you do not get this medicine? Without this, the infection will spread, and he goes silent as the man starts coughing again. I read the answer in his eyes, even if he won't say it. The man could be in terrible danger. He could even die. Rumpel looks defeated. He does not look like himself at all. Come on, we have coins. Like, give your coin to the sick man. That's a good deed. I glanced at the coins again, then at the list. Without a second thought, I grabbed both the list and the coins. Princess, what are you? I'll be back. I'll leave the room, even with Anise and Rumpel protesting behind me. I make my way to my room where I pick up the bag of coins that the king gave me when I went to the palace on the day I was cursed. Then I head for the door. We're gonna run out and get that medicine. I immediately head for the medicine store that we always frequent. I count out the coins that I need to buy the medicine. This will take all of my money, but if I wasn't going to use it for it wasn't as if I was going to use it for something else. I rush back to the merchant with the medicine in a little bag, hoping that this is the one that Rumpel needs. It is dark by the time I get back to the merchant. I make my way to Rumpel's room again and notice that he's sitting on a stool beside the patient's bed, looking at him forlornly. When I enter the room, his eyes go wide. He seems even more surprised when I hand him the bag. Princess, is this? He opens the bag and lets the little vial roll onto his hand. It's medicine! Gasp! How did you buy this? I combined your total with the money I had left. Rumpel just stares at me, clearly flabbergasted. Then his expression morphs into something softer, something more relieved. He steps forward and suddenly his arms are around me. He grabs me tightly and then I hear his voice in my ear. Thank you so much, Princess Evillan. My heart picks up slightly. It is so loud I think Rumpel might hear it, but when he pulls away, he does not say anything. I'll have to thank you for this later, Princess, but for now you should leave. I don't want you to get sick. I'm too dazed to disagree. I nod my head quietly before moving stiffly towards the door. I glance back at Rumpel one last time, noticing that he's checking the man's temperature. The moment I leave my room, a flash of light emanates from my chest. I absently touch the glass slipper at my neck and then pause as I stare down at it. I feel a soft gasp leave my lips when I notice a fragment of a second slipper. Ooh. Got the first one. I got my first good deed. I bought the medicine for Rumpel, but I only added in a few more coins to buy it. So what I did today was considered a good deed? I'm confused, but at the same time, I'm pleased that I actually managed to get a good deed. Now I only need 2 more. The next day I go down to the tavern area to begin my work, but I'm there a little early. Waltz is working on his puppets at a table, eyebrows furrowed in concentration. When I walk in, he looks up at me and smiles. Then he raises his eyebrows. Princess, congratulations! You got your first good deed. I did. I knew you could do it. I nod in response. His praise makes me feel oddly proud. I continue my usual work, keeping an eye out for Rumpel as I work my shift, but he never appears. A few days go by, and it is only after the man leaves, looking a lot healthier and stable than he was before, that I finally see Rumpel. He and the man speak at the front door to the tavern. No, really, sir, I couldn't take anything from you. Nonsense, you saved my life. I need to pay you back somehow. The man is holding money out to Rumpel, but Rumpel just shakes his head. I notice there are dark circles under his eyes and that he looks tired. I didn't help you for the money. But I insist. That money could be spent on better things, like your family. You may not take my money, but I promise I will pay you back. Your help is all the reward I need, I promise. I can't thank you enough. After the man leaves, I approach Rumpel. He turns to me and leans against the door, his smile still tired but bright. Ah, princess, come to heal my weary body, perhaps? I would so love another hug. My face becomes hot at the memory of Rumpel's hug from the other day. Ah, the natural rose of your cheeks is so sweet, princess. It makes me feel infinitely better. And your necklace seems different? I reach up to touch the pendant. Every time I get a good deed, a piece gets added to my necklace. Oh, right, you helped with the medicine the other day. Of course that was a good deed, princess. It was very selfless of you. Thanks again for that. That man tried to thank you too, but you refused his money. Why? And why did you spend your money on him? Because life is invaluable, princess. No amount of money could ever be more important than a person's life. Even if it is someone you do not know? Yes, because everyone has life, princess. They have loved ones, families, sweethearts. And if I can help them, I will, and I will gladly spend any amount of money to do so. Okay, fine, but why did you not accept any money from that man? Because no amount of money. You needed that money. How are you going to buy more medicines without any money? Rumpel's eyes widened. He was clearly not expecting me to ask that question. But he said before he didn't have much money, and it was true. I can't take money from him when he doesn't have much of it to begin with. He was thanking you with money. You should have accepted it. Parfait pays you, does she not? Rumpel's shoulders sag when he sighs. Yes, even though I won't accept the money from her face to face, she has to sneak it into my wallet. If she does that, why not just accept it from her? I'm trying to make a statement, princess. And Parfait does not seem to care because she sneaks the money into your wallet regardless. Ah, you have a point there. You're stubborn. We both are. Now I have a question. Why did you use your money on that man? You knew nothing about him. Did you do it for him? For yourself? Or for me, perhaps? Hit the nail on the head. Rumpel grins at me mischievously. Even with the tired eyes, I can still see the bright cheer in them. Hit the nail right on the head, again. You're becoming easier to read, my sweet princess. Well, no matter why you did it, thank you. That medicine was necessary to help that man. I still think you should have accepted money from him. You helped him, and he did him a service no one else would. You should have accepted his gratitude. Princess, I told you. I crossed my arms and frowned at him. You're so stubborn. Rumpel smiles, falters, and he just looks at me sadly, almost guiltily. For some reason, the sight of him in such a state makes my heart sink. Wipe off that frown. You look better with a smile. Rumpel stares at me, shocked. Why is he staring at me like that? You like my smile? Oh my gosh. Wrong thing to focus on. What? I did not say You like my smile, and you complimented it too, princess. You have no idea how much this means to me. Rumpel throws his hands in the air. I resist the urge to roll my eyes at the exaggerated reaction. You get compliments all the time from women. Yes, but none as honest as yours. That compliment is valuable because I know you absolutely meant it. So I will keep those words close to my heart because they are precious to me. It wasn't anything like the spectacular compliments he gives, yet he still looks so happy. You two seem to be getting along. Hey, Parfait. How's it going, my fairy friend? Parfait appears behind us with a smile on her face. Sorry to interrupt, but Evillan, Karma is slowly drowning in table work. Would you help him? Yes, of course. Rumpel looks disappointed as I'm sent back to the bar, where Karma expresses immediate relief that I'm back. Rumpel retires to his room early that day, and he is given the day off. Both Dolores and Parfait can see the tiredness on his face, just like I can. He does not reappear for the rest of the day. At the end of my shift, I retire to my room. When I get downstairs the next morning, I am met with a familiar sight. Karma and Rumpel at it again. Both Karma and Rumpel stand on opposite sides of a table, their voices rising in argument. Are they fighting again? I happen to catch their words as I walk quietly down the stairs. Who are you to criticize my work ethic when you were gone for several days, leaving me with your workload? It wasn't like I wanted to, and who are you to criticize how I work? All the ladies I spoke to said that you shower them with compliments. What kind of professional behavior is that? I'm having a hard time believing you're a professional with the way you flaunt yourself. At least you don't flirt with people to attract their attention. And you flirt with them, and you don't even realize the effect it has on other people. Flattery is not a crime. But just yesterday, the princess came to see you in your room, all because you gave her the impression that you liked her. Oof. Were you actually spying on her? And you call me uncouth. No, I overheard her say it. And you're wrong. I never say anything if it isn't truthful. Ah, well, then the truth of the matter is that you must be in love with many women. Because they all seem to think that you'll get down on one knee and propose to them. You say some sly things, Miss Karma, and yet you're the biggest liar of us all. At least I don't lie to my partner. Ooh. Ooh, okay. So, we could defend Rumpel, or we could watch from afar. I kind of want to watch from afar and see what happens, but I don't know if the good deed is going to be to defend Rumpel. Let's defend Rumpel. Let's see what happens. Rumpel tells me that he never lies. He tells me that he wants me to trust him. Though I still find it hard to believe, I do want to trust him. I walk down the rest of the stairs and stop at Rumpel's side. Both men look equally surprised to see me there. Rumpel has never lied to me yet. Karma looks up and stares at me for a few moments, then looking startled by my sudden appearance. Then he sighs. Princess, the man that flatters everyone doesn't flatter anyone. At least he's not so conceited that he flatters himself constantly. Oof. Karma, our previous beloved. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that there would be so much conflict between Karma and Rumpel in this. Okay. Such a sharp tongue you have, Princess. And you're very quick to jump to assumptions. You two are at it again? Hey, it's Jurian. Jurian stops at the table and frowns at them. Both men glance away from her cold gaze. Karma murmurs something before excusing himself. Rumpel looks down at the table, his eyebrows knit together with frustration. What's wrong with you two? Why can't you just be civil with each other? Jurian, you're never here to see how these fights start. Karma is every bit a beast, attacking me for no good reason at all. With your keen eye, you should be able to discern that, right? Flattery won't work on me, Rumpel, and second, I doubt these fights start without any bit of prompting from you. I swear I don't start anything. Karma's just always irritable. He's like a woman during that one time of the month. Oh my gosh. Both the girls are like, ugh. Jurian walks away stiffly, leaving me with Rumpel. I look at him a little irritated by his earlier comment. He gives me a sheepish smile. Thank you, Princess. Oh, that was the good deed. I was gonna say, did we pick the wrong choice? For what? For defending me. I swear I meant what I said. I would never lie to you. I mean every one of my compliments, every one of my thank yous. You must know that since you came to defend me. Rumpel, sometimes you continue talking when nothing needs to be said. But I'm just expressing the depths of my gratitude. Whoops. Yeah. It is not necessary. It was such a small thing, too. Princess, can you give me some help with the inventory? I'm coming. As I turn away, Rumpel waves. I'll see you later, Princess. Who knows, you might get your second good deed. I resist the urge to roll my eyes. It feels like it'll be a while yet before I can achieve my next good deed. Strings of Fate. What a brilliant day. The sun is shining, the town is full of laughter, and I have my sweet princess here to accompany me. It sounds like I'm getting easier to read, too. No, you just said it enough times that I memorized it. That means you must pay attention to my words. That in itself is a compliment, Princess. It is not. We are on our way to the usual store to restock our medications when a small figure leaps out through the front door. She stares at us with a lost look on her face. Rumpel reacts immediately, making his way over to her with a broad smile. Madam, I can't help but notice the pained expression upon your beautiful face. Is there something I can do to assuage your worries? For seeing your lovely face shadowed by such sadness stabs me right in the heart. Oof. The woman stares at Rumpel, dumbfounded. His smile wavers and he takes a step back, suddenly looking alarmed. Oh, I'm sorry. It's you. Huh? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is awkward, madam, but I'm afraid I don't know you. What? Or do I? Do I know you? I take a step forward and look at the woman flatly. He's been cursed. He has amnesia. Oh. Amnesia? The woman stares at Rumpel, scrutinizing him again. You do seem different. Changed from before, in any case. Oof. So you knew me before? How terrible it is for me to forget such a lovely face. But perhaps you can help me remember? The usual flirty suggestion is in his voice, but the woman seems unaffected. I can help you remember. You can? It's no wonder I can't remember your name. You have the fairy tale curse, don't you? Who is this woman? You truly don't remember me? I'm sorry. The woman looks conflicted, but the expression is gone as fast as it appears. I'm Bria. I'm Bria, your fiancé. Fiancé? Gasp! Like gasp! What? The shock is apparent on my face, but nowhere near as impressive as the astonishment on Rumpel's face. My fiancé? Yeah, she has to be lying. How can Rumpel possibly have a fiancé with the way that he is? He barely is able to dedicate himself to a single woman for an hour. Bria takes a step forward and takes Rumpel's hands into her own. You don't remember holding my hands like this when you took me to the forest and proposed to me? Oh my gosh. Rumpel opens his mouth, but no words escape. He reminds me of a lost dog all of a sudden, with his eyes so wide. Bria runs her fingers over his hands. I loved you. You loved me. And I still love you very much. I don't remember this. How can I help you remember? Rumpel's voice is faint, but still he tries to smile. The circumstances of the curse tell me that I need to remember through memories and, a journal somehow. A journal? I have your old journals. I can show you the very first love letter you wrote me. Oof. Bria starts walking, her hands still clasped in Rumpel's. I stare after them for a few moments, trying to piece together what is happening in my head. I chase after them. Bria enters the house, one that Rumpel stares at in awe. When she comes back out, she's holding a journal. She hands it to Rumpel, then opens up to the first page. This is a little embarrassing, but there it is. You compiled your letters into a journal. Rumpel slowly reads over the words, and I notice the strange, glazed look come back into his eyes as his expression grows more somber. This is like the last time, when he remembered he was a doctor. Bria returns to me as Rumpel is reading, and her eyebrows arch. And who are you? Oh, goodness. His partner. Partner? We're helping each other with our curses. Oh, you're cursed too? You poor thing. Bria's voice is flat. She's glaring at me beneath her smile. I have done nothing to merit this distrust from her, and I cannot bring myself to trust her either. Bria. Rumpel looks up from the journal and stares at her. Yes, sweet? Rumpel's melancholy expression throws me off. Last time he was so excited when he realized he was a doctor, but now his expression is heartbreaking. I remember, I did propose to you. In the forest, and it was dark. You set up little lights around the clearing. We spoke for a while, and then you got down on your knee and you dropped the ring. It had fallen in the roots of some tree. We only noticed it when a bird came down to pluck it out of the bramble. I had no idea what you were looking for, but I still chased after that bird. And you got the ring back, and you knew. Bria holds out her hand, and I notice a beautiful red-green gem sitting on her finger. Ew, it looks like an emerald or an opal or something. It was still charming, though. I laughed for so long because it felt so memorable. Plucking your engagement ring out of a bird's beak. You're right. Rumpel smiles, a little uncertainly. In that moment, I feel him turn away from me. He doesn't realize that I'm even there, standing with Bria. Ouch. Ouch! Why am I feeling so uncomfortable? You said you were helping Rumpel with his curse, yes? She turns to me. There's no worry, I can help him now. This is what couples do. I have to force the pity out of my heart. I have to force myself to think rationally. Something still seems off about this. But Rumpel remembers, which means this is the truth, isn't it? No. I'm still his partner. I am still his partner. You cannot take this away from me. I still feel something is wrong. I do not trust this woman. Do you know anything about him, dear? Oof. Have you helped him regain any of his memories? Yes, in fact, we helped him once regain the memory that he was a doctor. She was with me when I regained my memories. Evillan is a very valuable good luck charm. Oof. Oof. Just a good luck charm? Ouch. Rumpel flashes a small smile at me before turning to Bria. Her eyes seem a lot colder now. That was the good girl points, but I don't know. I don't really feel like a good girl after that one. Tell me, what do you go by now? Until we figure out your name, I need something to call you. Rumpel. Bria's cold gaze falls on me, and I can sense something in them that surprises me. Jealousy? Why would she be jealous of me? Rumpel, would you maybe want to come back home with me? What? I know you must be overwhelmed, but our home might be able to help you remember some things. I'm sorry, I actually have a patient somewhere else that I need to tend to. Bria's eyes flash briefly. Her frown is there for a few seconds before she smiles again. You were always good with your patients. I'm sorry. It's okay, I understand that you're overwhelmed. But remember, now I'm here for you too. I want to mend things, to make them go back to the way they were before. I don't trust her. I think Rumpel tried to break up with her and she's not letting him. How about you look over that journal and then we meet again tomorrow? We can take this one step at a time. I would like that. We can get to know each other again, and in time I'm sure you'll remember what we used to have. I loved you. And I did too. I still do. A slight shiver runs down my spine as I stare at the two of them. There's that uncomfortable feeling once again. Bria and Rumpel agree on the spot to meet me tomorrow, and then she leans up to kiss Rumpel on the cheek. Oof. He puts a hand on his cheek as she walks off with a gentle smile on her face. Are you okay? He looks at me, and for a few moments I see that gaze lingers longer than it normally does in my own eyes. Then he smiles and laughs. Of course I am, Princess. I just remembered something about my own past. I'm guessing that the second entry has appeared in my journal by now. I can't wait to get back to the merchant and read it. Bria has the rest of my journals, so I might truly be able to remember everything if I talk to her. Including your love for her? Oof. He sighs out before he proclaims that we should finish our errands. I follow him around the town, though the scenery lacks its usual vibrancy. Rumpel doesn't speak to anyone, not even the girls, while we walk. He keeps his eyes focused on the ground, and when he speaks to the shop owners, his cheer is lukewarm at best. I try to start a conversation with him many times, but he shies away from talking. I feel like there's something he's not telling me. When we arrived at the merchant, Rumpel quickly excuses himself, not even sharing his epiphany about his past with anyone. What has him so bent out of shape? He just regained another memory. I'm assuming he's going to go read about it now. It's not like him to hide things. I hope Rumpel is okay. Oh no. Our beloved Rumpel. It has been about a week since Rumpel regained that last memory. He has been meeting with Bria since then. But he still hasn't told me about the memory from the journal. He does not flirt with any girls, and when he sees me, his smile looks broken. He spends his days visiting Bria and tending to parfait. You're worried about Rumpel, aren't you? Yeah, Walt, I am. Why would I be worried about him? Because Rumpel is no longer able to run errands with me, Waltz decided to take his place. Hey, Waltz. Waltz's presence cannot make up for Rumpel's absence. He'll be fine, Princess. He's still figuring things out. I do not trust that woman. His fiancée? She appeared out of nowhere. People who aren't cursed can't find the tavern, Princess. She would never have been able to find him. So really, the only place she could have met him was out here in nowhere. I can tell that he's teasing me, but it does little to lift my spirits. I know. Walt sighs. If you don't trust her, why not just ask around for her? She obviously does not want to talk to me. No, I mean ask others about her. So long as you find a way to phrase your intentions honestly, I think they might understand you. Rumpel says my honesty is good, but I also know that the way I speak frustrates many people. Come on, I'll help. Waltz approaches a flower shop where several people are gathered to look at fresh flowers. Excuse me, madam, sir. I was wondering if you knew anything about someone named Bria. We hear that she's engaged to a friend of ours, but he hasn't said much about her. Oof. Everyone calls me blunt, but I would never question others so openly. Does Walt really expect the people to be so open to him? Oh, if it isn't Waltz, doing a little investigative work, are you? Just looking around to find out more about someone important to a friend. Not going to put this one on one of your shows, are you? Waltz raises an eyebrow and laughs. Of course not. Everyone just trusts Waltz. I suppose he must speak to people often, being a performer. They would probably never suspect Waltz to do anything morally unquestionable. And yet for me, they were suspicious of everything that I did. I guess it's a good thing Waltz is here. I stifle a sigh as the so-called investigation begins. But Bria, I was under the impression that her fiancé wasn't seeing her anymore. Oh, Bria. Poor Bria. I heard that the poor dear made a mistake and that her fiancé threw her out for it. Oh no! What did she do? Was she mean to one of his patients or something? Is she engaged to someone new now? I'm not surprised, given the affair she had on her first fiancé. Oh, she had an affair? We are finding things out left and right about Bria. My goodness. Excuse me, what did you just say? Oh, you aren't aware? I'm terribly sorry. Perhaps I shouldn't have said anything. You said she cheated on her first fiancé? She was engaged to some man, a doctor, I believe. He was a good man, always smiled, helped everyone, including the poor. I don't see how she would have the gall to do it, but the rumors state that she was seeing another man. I think I saw them out together sometimes. He was a rich businessman. Who was he? I believe he was one of the doctor's patients. Did anyone see this for sure, ma'am? Oh, lots of people did, and that's why the poor man stopped seeing her, bless his heart. He looked heartbroken. But then the two of them were engaged, so she should have been more committed to him. When Bria first approached Rumpel, she had no idea he had amnesia. She started apologizing to him. Was it for the affair, or am I just speculating? We thanked the woman for her help before continuing to ask the town for more information. The more we hear, the more certain we become. She cheated on him. Princess, I know what you're thinking, but it would be incredibly rash to tell Rumpel about this. But she's lying to him. I can still remember the sadness in his eyes. Maybe somewhere deep down he still knows. Did his journal entry not say anything? You could try talking to him, Princess, but without any evidence, we're just going off rumors. If you're wrong, I think that would hurt the situation a lot more. I'm forced to acknowledge Waltz's reasoning. As much as I want to tell Rumpel right now, I do not even know where he is. We finish our errands for the day and then return to the merchant, where I complete my chores around the tavern before retiring to bed. Cheater! Later that night, after turning for hours in bed without any successive sleep, I make my way downstairs for a glass of milk. I stop abruptly at the sound of hushed voices. Parfait and Rumpel are sitting together at a table, their voices soft. It means a lot to me that you're still taking care of me, even with everything you have on your plate. When things are uncertain as they are right now, the little things that remain are the same. The same are actually comforting. What? No compliments tonight? Oof. He clears his throat. Lady Parfait, I always find comfort in your presence. Your heart's not in it, is it? Please don't stress yourself trying to take care of me. I've seen the orders of the medicines and the dosages. I can care for myself, Rumpel. I owe you and Lady Delora for letting me stay here. Even now, you would have kicked me out, yet I'm still here. This isn't the confident Rumpel that I'm used to seeing. It's rather heartbreaking to see you like this, you know. Oof. Parfait's eyes drift past Rumpel, and she sees me before I can dart away. I think you're worrying your partner, too. Rumpel turns in his seat and stares at me. Princess? I slowly make my way toward them. I'm sorry, Princess. I haven't been trying to help you at all. It's fine. Parfait's right, though. It's not like you to be so pitiful. Ah, your words are still sharp as ever. I glance at Parfait curiously. The light of the tavern lights up her face dimly, making it look more ghostly than usual. She looks sicklier. Do you think I look like a ghost, Princess? Yes. Yes, I do. By the time night comes around, I'm utterly exhausted. You said you were like this because of the light crystal you have to take care of? That's correct. I used to be able to watch over it more easily, but now with the balance between both crystals lost in the kingdom, it's getting harder. This responsibility is a big burden. It's a heavy toll on my body. But that doesn't diminish any of my pride. I am proud to bear this responsibility. Someone needs to do it, and I'm very glad I can help so many people through bearing this burden. What would happen if you just let the responsibility go? There would be even more chaos than there is now. And what of the Dark Crystal Bearer? Would they not help you with your stress? There's no Dark Crystal Bearer currently. Yeah, because it's supposed to be us. What? Parfait stares at me for a few moments, a complicated expression on her face. Then suddenly she sighs. Please do not worry about me, Princess. I've lived a good life. I just want to do more good while I still live. and I'm very lucky to be surrounded by so many good people. Anyway, the two of you should be off to bed soon. I can tell you're both tired. Parfait pauses to look at me, eyebrows slightly arched. Oh, but before you go, there was something I meant to ask you. Ask me? Parfait crosses her arms and looks at me tersely for a few moments. The look is so unlike her that it almost concerns me. She looks uncertain of something, though I cannot imagine what it is. What could she want to discuss with me? I wanted to ask you if you were free the day after tomorrow. I'm free whenever my schedule says I am. Then if you could spare 20 or so minutes, I want to speak with you about something. Very important. Important? I suppose you could say it's related to your curse. Fine. Parfait smiles at us before walking back to her room, leaving me alone with Rumpel. Rumpel smiles at me uncertainly. For a few moments, I think he might actually talk to me, but then he rushes off after giving me an apology. I watch him walk up the stairs, my heart sinking. I need to know what's going on with him. Today is my day off. I keep on the lookout for Rumpel. Eventually, I see him making his way down the staircase. He does not look quite as disheartened as last night, but his expression is still rather somber. He says good morning to everyone as he usually does, and then he walks out the front door. And that is my cue. Following behind Rumpel without being seen proves to be remarkably easy. Even if he is perceptive, he won't be expecting me to follow him when I'm normally working during these hours. He makes his way through the town until he comes to a stop at a little cafe in the main plaza. It is cleverly hidden, just slightly out of view, not at all in plain view like the rest of the shops. Bria is sitting, waiting for him at the table with the journal. The way she smiles at him numbs my heart. I make my way over to a nearby fountain and crouch beside it to keep out of view. I can hear their conversation, just barely from where I sit. You know, I'd been searching for you a long time when I saw you. You suddenly disappeared from the house one night and I couldn't find you. Why did I leave the house? I don't know. Oh, but you do know. You're just a liar. Was it a fight? Oof. No, not a fight. We barely ever fought. We made a promise when you gave me this ring. We promised we would never make each other sad. I close my heart and breathe. Bria's words drive a bitterness to my heart. After everything I heard, it is possible those rumors were baseless, but isn't it also possible that they were the truth? And Rumpel mentioned a fight. Now's my chance to tell him. Ooh, this is rough. This is getting rough. Okay. We're gonna reconsider because we don't have proper evidence of anything yet. But if somehow everything we heard was one big lie, would I hurt Rumpel? I also have my pride. I cannot just accuse someone, even if I feel that Bria is guilty of something. I step away from the fountain, meaning to head back the way that I came. Even if the situation sounded wrong, I feel that Rumpel would hate me getting involved. I'm surprised then when he calls my name. Princess? Yes! Good girl points! I knew that was the good choice. You shouldn't, we're not gonna get anything by confronting her now. We need more evidence. What are you doing here? He saw me? Did he know I was behind the fountain? Spying, are we? I make my way over to the table to where Rumpel is looking at me with worry and Bria is openly scowling at me. Is there something wrong, Miss Partner? Not with me, but perhaps with you. Excuse me? You seem to have quite the reputation. Ugh! Princess. I have no idea what you're talking about, but taking people's words at face value is foolish. Mother would have said the same thing, but why would they lie? So it's not true that you were seeing another man? Gasp. How dare you? Bria stands up and glares at me. I frown back at her. Her anger does not faze me. She seems like a petulant child. I can't stand jealous girls. They're the bane of my existence. And what? You're what, 18? 17, but what does that even matter? Either way, there's just about a 6-year age gap between you two. So? Ugh. 24? Gods, am I really so ancient? Oh my god. The two of us look at him in unison, then back at each other. I'm here because I want to help my partner, and because you are lying to him. And who are you to say that I'm lying? You're a terrible little spy is what you are, hiding places to watch us, going around town asking about me. I'm telling you now that Rumpel doesn't need you, especially if you're the one spewing lies. Those words have no weight coming from a hypocrite. Ouch. Get it, girl. Get it. Wait, ladies. Rumpel looks between the two of us, eyebrows furrowed, then he shakes his head. Bria, I knew. It was in my journal. What? Rumpel faces Bria, his expression crumpled. It was that lord, wasn't it? The one I refused to take money from that one time I helped him? Oof. He had told me himself. I think that's why this feeling inside of me is so mute right now, why I was always having second thoughts about your stories. Bria, why didn't you ever tell me that you were seeing him? 'Cause it makes her look like a bad guy? I asked you that question back then too, but you never told me, and so I was waiting for you to bring it up again. I was waiting for you to explain. I was waiting for... As if I could ever get anything through that thick skull of yours. Ooh. Even I cannot stop myself from staring at her when she insults Rumpel, but with this, she's admitted that the rumors are true. Even if I explained myself, all you would ever say is that you were sorry, but nothing was changed. What did I do that was so wrong? Look at you. Even now, you can't bring yourself to be angry at me. You knew the truth, and instead of demanding to know why I did what I did, you kept asking what you did wrong. But you'll never realize what you did wrong, Rumpel. Never. Some things never change. Bria scowls as she makes her way around the table. Rumpel tries to call her back, but Bria only frowns as she walks off. Rumpel lets out a long sigh. And there go all of my journals, too. Right, you said that Bria had all his old journals. I am sorry. Huh? I only made things worse. I'm still not entirely sure what they were talking about, but... Princess, you don't have to apologize for anything, though... Oh, sad. I would like you to apologize for shedding some light on my age. 24 is not ancient, Rumpel. Calm down. What? Am I really, truly that old? Suddenly, he looks disgruntled, but the look of distraught on his face is almost comical. I cannot help it when I smile and then start to laugh. Ugh! Do my ears deceive me? Is that wonderful sound coming from your mouth, Princess? How precious. It's just, you're an old man. If I'm an old man, then I'm young at heart. Besides, I would be a lot more offended if you weren't smiling while you said that. After a few moments, Rumpel sighs and shakes his head. That's so special for us to smile at him. We, like, never smile. So, like, laughing and smiling, that's, like, that's crazy. After a few moments, Rumpel sighs and shakes his head. I'm sorry you had to see all that. I knew there was more to the story than Bria was letting on because I read the memory from my journal. You knew about the nobleman? Why did you not say anything? Like I said, I was waiting for her to say something. I wanted her to open up about it honestly. Bria is undoubtedly bold, but I doubt she is at all honest. The journal entry, I never read it to you. You've been distant the last week. I have been, and I'm sorry for that. But allow me to enlighten you. Rumpel gestures to the chair that Bria had been sitting in, and I take my seat opposite of him. First, the nobleman was one of my patients. He had a grievous sickness, one that no one else had been able to cure. I cannot help but remember the little boy with the impossible sickness. It seemed he was drawn to Rumpel too. Rumpel was not able to help that boy on his own either. Some woman offered her assistance. Yeah, I think it's the medical witch that they keep talking about. Earlier in the chapter they were talking about like a medicine witch that can cure illnesses of all kinds, but no one knows where she lives. Did you manage to cure him with the help of that same woman? It's another cryptic entry, yes. The mysterious woman from the first entry reappears. We strike another deal, but I cannot remember the deal at all. Oh, that's very Rumpelstiltskin. What did you sell? What did you deal? All I know is that afterwards I did something to make Bria hate me, and she began seeing the nobleman. Or maybe it was before that. Maybe she was just unhappy. She won't explain why. She still cheated on you. That's her fault, not yours. Rumpel nods absently. I can tell he's not convinced. In any case, even though I can't remember the entirety of what happened, every time I thought of Bria, I thought of our love in the past tense. Rumpel frowns, but it is fleeting. Suddenly, he's smiling again. Let's head back for now, Princess. I'll figure out how to reach Bria later. I follow Rumpel back to the merchant. Though he seems fine for a time, Rumpel's somberness returns as we head back. He looks like he is trapped in his thoughts. He needs the rest of his journals, but how is he going to get a hold of them now? Yeah, she doesn't really seem to care that he has amnesia. She just wants him to come back with her. Oh, Princess, you're here. Sorry, we're late. Oh yeah, you had something you wanted to tell us, right, Parfait? The princess is gracing us with her presence. Parfait said a few days ago that she had something to discuss with me, so I'm here. And let's get right to it, shall we? She plops down on one of the chairs, and Parfait sits down gracefully beside her. Princess, the other day you asked me about my responsibility, and briefly about the Dark Crystal Bearer. I did, but what does this have to do with me? It has everything to do with you, because when it comes to that second inquiry, the answer is right here. Delora points at me. I stare at her, not comprehending. Princess, the bearer of the Dark Crystal is you. What? I'm not even able to feel shock, just confusion. But how do I have anything to do with these crystals? See, I told you she'd be confused. It's because we started backwards. I'm so sorry, Princess. I do not understand. You remember the story about the crystals, Princess. For a time, the crystals were in complete balance. Even the witches who draw on negative energy were respected. Then one day, Hans read the fairy tales. Witches were suddenly painted as villains. Humans attacked the witches, trying to drive them out. Their leader, who just so happened to be my best friend, was hard-pressed to try to keep the peace. She was the original bearer of the crystal. Oh, so Parfait was best friends with our mom. Interesting. As the witches were killed and thrown out, she found her patience wearing thin. She killed a human, the ultimate taboo, and there was nothing we could do but try to stop her. This bearer, the leader of the witches and the bearer of the Dark Crystal, is someone you know, or someone you knew. She erased all your memories, made you think that the fairy tales were evil, that humans were terrible. Oh my goodness. I feel something dark stirring inside of me. A sharp pain cuts through my heart, making it hard to breathe. The previous bearer of the crystal was your mother, Princess Hildur, the leader of the witches. That's impossible. Mother was not a witch. But she was, the strongest of us all. When she died, she kept some of her powers sealed with the crystal, which is why it still allows the fairy tale curse to be spread. What kind of lie is this? I cannot use magic, and Mother never told me that she was a witch. She would have told me. Would she? It sounds like it, doesn't it? But I assure you, Princess, we wouldn't ever lie to you about something like this. As impossible as it seems, you are a witch. Your power won't manifest until you're 18, and at that time you will inherit control of the crystal. Since your birthday is soon, this was the last chance we had to teach you goodness. Your mother has been shielding you from it for so long. We trusted you were different from her, and you are. Mother was the only one that ever loved me. She stole away your memories and made you hate the world. Delora, she was fostering hatred in you, making you just like her. You do not know anything about Mother. I stand up, rage coiling up inside me like a snake. Evillan, I know a lot about her, more than you will ever know. No. The truth is hard, Princess, but eventually we all have to face it. Hildur was my beloved friend. Facing her was the hardest thing I've ever done. Hey, Ishbosh, how's it going? We only want to help you. Well, you're not very good at it. I turn on my heels and storm out of the room. I feel that there is more to what Delora and Parfait wanted to say to me, but I cannot stand to hear it right now. Yeah, that's kind of some big information we got dumped on us. It's always big information every time they dump it on us, even though we already know that it's true. We find out a little bit more each time, too. I walk into the clearing and sit against a tree, furiously rubbing at my eyes as I try to clear my dangerously watery eyes. Showing emotion is weak. I sit there for a long time in the clearing, trying to calm myself. My thoughts spin wildly out of control. I'm doing good, Hush Bosh. Just playing some Cinderella phenomenon, drinking coffee. It's a good day. Princess? I see him out of the corner of my eyes, standing between two trees, his eyebrows knit together with worry. What, you were listening? Listening? No, I just came to look for you in your room, and then I came downstairs. Parfait told me you'd run out into the forest. May I sit next to you? I say nothing as he walks over to me. He sits down beside me, his hands resting on his knees as he looks up at the canopies of trees. Thank you for today, Princess, for coming after me and trying to make things right. I'm not in the mood to talk about this right now. My thoughts are too scrambled. Sometimes, truths are hard. How do you know it was the truth? A feeling. Trusting people is hard sometimes. I understand. He looks at me and his eyes seem to glimmer softly in the moonlight. Would you like someone to listen to your problems, princess? Oh, I think we should talk to him. This is a perfect chance to talk to him. And open up a little bit. I rub up my eyes as Rumpel looks at me with a quiet smile. He could be talking about his own problems, but instead he's trying to comfort me. Parfait and Delora told me something they were keeping hidden from me. They told me something about Mother. And it doesn't make any sense to me because everything that they are saying makes her a villain. Even villains are often misunderstood or have trying circumstances. Rumpel slowly reaches to rest his hand on top of mine. I sit up straight and stare at him, my eyes wide. Rumpel smiles at me, a slow, soft smile that crinkles the edges of his eyes. Seeing such a beautiful lady close to tears makes my heart break, you know. But if you ever need to cry, you should. Tears aren't weakness, they're just a form of expression, and even the strongest of us cry. I am not going to cry. My mind reels, then starts to feel fuzzy. Definitely the Ice Princess. The title startles me on my thoughts. I stare at him pointedly, beginning to grimace, but Rumpel just smiles. I always thought it was a delicate name, suitable for a strong and beautiful woman. Seeing you like this, it makes me realize that the name suits you. Perhaps if everyone meant it that way, it would not be so terrible a title. Rumpel slowly takes his hand away and smiles. Though he insists on hearing me out, I insist the opposite. For now, I want to keep what I discussed with Parfait and Delora to myself. I still need time to process it. Okay, so what I'm noticing from these chapters is every time we make a decision, she just does what she's gonna do anyways. So, like, my first choice is usually wrong or something like that. We're gonna remain silent. My problems? Why would he want to know about my problems? I understand what it's like, princess, to have a secret stuck inside of you. To want to keep things to yourself because you're worried that someone will prove you wrong. But you can always talk to me about it. Why are you so interested in my problems? I told you before, the best thing you can do is listen to a person. That's how you learn to sympathize. Besides, I honestly care about you. I will always listen to you, princess. Rumpel slowly reaches out to rest his hand on top of mine. Yeah, and we saw this part, so we're gonna do a little bit of a skip. For tonight, I just want to forget that the conversation ever happened. For some time, the two of us are silent. There are no words exchanged between the two of us, but the silence is comfortable. Then eventually, Rumpel puts a hand on my shoulder. Things will work out, princess. I hope so. I stand and excuse myself. Good night, Rumpel. I turn and walk away. Good night, my sweet princess. Yes, another chapter. Muddled Truths. Interesting. And you, my little sunflower, are just as radiant as always. Oh my, Rumpel. It's like the whole thing with Bria never happened. He's back to flattering every woman he meets. Overthinking again, princess? I turn to see Karma grinning at me from where he sits at a table. Surprisingly, he's sitting with Durian and Garland today, who are arguing about some kind of night stance. It's none of your business. No, it's not, but you have such a sad look on your face, I had to ask. I'd appreciate you not staring at my face. I don't need to stare at you to see that you're in distress. I turn on my heels and begin to walk away, irritated. Even when I'm among other people, it is impossible to forget the conversation I had with Parfait and Delora. It hovers at the back of my mind constantly. We've not spoken again since then, yet even now, I'm still taking in what they told me before. My mother, the Dark Crystal Bearer, and me, a witch. The reason others have always feared me is because of my blood. I suppress a sigh as I attempt to return to my work. As the days go by, I notice myself becoming more and more agitated. Half of it is the recent history lesson, and the other half is Rumpel's flirting with other women. How can he just snap his fingers and get over Bria so quickly? If he flatters every woman, does that mean he does not really mean the things he says to me? I gather the plates off the counter and then put them on a tray and take them to customers. Hey, Blackblade, good to see ya. How you doing today? Today, everything feels mechanical. For the last few days, I have been noticing that I walk more stiffly, and that if I walk too quickly, my vision blurs. Uh-oh, are we sick? I'm doing good, Blackblade. I got some coffee, I'm playing the Cinderella phenomenon, all is good. It's a good day. Probably because of my overthinking. I stumble as I bring a tray to a familiar customer. The man looks up at me and asks if I'm okay, and I murmur that I am before walking off. Blurriness comes back. What is wrong with me? I look over at Rumpel, who is at a table with 2 girls because his shift is over. Rather than boil over on the inside, I feel myself getting warmer on the outside. My skin feels clammy. I have to force myself to take a breath as I get the next round of orders. My last order for the day is one of the girls at Rumpel's table. I don't want to go over there. I start carrying the tray towards the table, biting down on my lip as the sway comes back into my step. As I draw closer, I notice Rumpel and the girls laughing about something. I grit my teeth and pause in front of them to lay down the tray. This isn't mine, it's my friend's. Yes, I was the one who ordered the soup. The 2 stare at me. Instead of handing the soup off, they wait for me to move the bowl. But before I can reach over and move it, Rumpel slides it over to the other girl himself. For a few moments, there's a fragment of a scowl on his face. How are you doing today, my sweet princess? When I think about speaking, the words catch feebly in my throat. I turn to walk off. Princess? Still as cold as ice. The title Ice Princess definitely suits her. How can you dote on her, Rumpel? Despite the numbness of my mind, I still feel angry. So this chapter, we're going after Rumpel from Rumpelstiltskin. He's got memory issues. He doesn't remember who he is or what's going on with him. He has a journal that magically appears memories when he regains them, and he recently just regained a memory where he was engaged to a fiance, but she cheated on him, and his memory told him that he got cheated on, and so he was waiting for her to say something, but she didn't. She was just trying to play him. So now it's kind of the aftermath of that, and I think we're getting sick. I think we're sick, and I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. Is Rumpel going to have to save us? Despite the numbness of my mind, I still feel angry. I turn around so quickly that I make myself stumble. I feel myself teetering on the edge of falling, but something stops me. Warm hands reach out to grab mine before I can fall. Through my dizziness, I can see Rumpel standing in front of me. Princess, look at me. He puts a hand under my chin and angles my head so I can see him better. The expression on his face is suddenly serious. He looks at me for a few moments before he places a hand on my forehead. Princess, you have a fever. A really high fever, actually. You should go back to your room and rest. I'll drop by with some medication in a few minutes after I say goodbye to these ladies. I am fine. My voice comes out hoarse. Trying to clear my throat only makes me feel more miserable. Princess, you're not fine. You look like you're about to collapse. I will not collapse. I'm stronger than that. Mother taught me how to be strong. Mother. Yeah, and we recently found out that our mother is the Dark Crystal Bearer and that she was an evil witch, so we're still trying to process that. My thoughts become scrambled. Once again my mind wanders, but this time I cannot keep myself steady as I try to walk away. Putting one foot in front of the other proves to be too difficult, and I once again feel myself start to stumble. Then I feel warmth, this time arms instead of hands. Sweet little princess, what am I going to do with you? Oh, we're getting lifted up. Cute! Before I can understand what is happening, I'm lifted off my feet. I feel an arm supporting my back and another supporting me between the crook of my knees. Warmth, such a nice warmth. You really are stubborn, aren't you, Princess Evillan? I guess I'll just have to carry you up myself. Alright. We're gonna save. And let's... Should we struggle or should we lean on him? I kind of want to lean on him, but I don't know if that's going to get us the good girl points that we normally get. Let's struggle. Let's try to keep our composure. I cannot just let him carry me up like this. I attempt to move away from him, but my whole body is weak. It is all I can do to try to roll out of his arms, but even that does not work. If you fall, you'll get a bump on your head, you know. I'm not weak. I do not need anyone taking care of me. There are voices and indistinct chatter behind him that belongs to the girls. Rumpel speaks in a low voice. Stubborn she may be, but my sweet princess is stronger than any other woman I've ever known. He pulls me closer to him, and I feel his chest at my head, then his heartbeat. I know you're strong, princess, stronger than anyone else, even. But because you're so strong, I know you'll never admit to needing help. That's why I'm going to help you without your permission. I'm sorry. Yes, good girl points. Perfect. Slowly I let myself settle in his arms. I lean my head onto his chest and listen to his heartbeat. It is a gentle, sweet sound that makes me feel like drifting into slumber. So warm. Ah, but not as warm as you are right now, princess. His voice slowly begins to fade out as I close my eyes. For the time being, I stop caring about everything else around me. I forget about Mother, about my talk with Delora and Parfait, about the crystal, the merchant, and I focus on Rumpel. Is it so selfish to want to be the only person held like this by him, even when he was engaged to someone else before? Slumber slowly reaches up to claim me, darkness intermingling with warmth. In that last moment, I think I see Rumpel smile. Ew. We're getting a memory again. These memories are always like super interesting to me because I like that we get to see a younger side of Evillan before she was corrupted by her mom, and we slowly get to see how this like corruption of that the world hates you and nobody loves you, nobody you can trust, like gets mixed in with this younger version of us and kind of like steals our innocence away. Mother, I've come to tell you about the fairy tale that the children read to me today. Evillan, what did I tell you about fairy tales? But there was a princess, just like me. She found her Prince Charming, and fairy tales are not real. But they make really good stories, Mother. If you don't mind, can I ask you anything? Sure, Blackblade, I'm open to questions. They are false stories. Do you really think it would be so easy to live happily ever after? No, but fairy tales make things black and white. Real life is full of grays. Black and white? Good and evil. No one is totally evil, and no one is totally good. Even princes are not completely just. So princes and princesses can be bad? Evillan, everyone has a darkness to them. Princes that throw themselves into danger are not selfless. They seek wealth, fame, or power. You see, fairy tales are lies because no one is so selfless and so full of love. People are two-faced. Oof. Trust no one. Yes, Mother. No one will love you like I do. To find pure love like that is impossible. Not impossible. Just improbable. I slowly blink my eyes open. For a few moments, the room is blurry. And there's nothing but vivid colors before my eyes. I text you on Discord. Marine also texted you on Discord, but you didn't respond. Oh, I've been away from my Discord for a little bit. Just been, like hanging out, figuring out what games I'm going to be playing and the order in which I'm going to post them up on stream and stuff like that. So, sorry I didn't respond, but I will respond after this. I'll check in on that. I slowly blink my eyes open. For a few moments, the room is blurry, and there's nothing but vivid colors before my eyes. My eyes feel heavy, my throat scratchy. I stifle a cough as I blink back tears, and then through my tears I notice a slight motion. Rumpel? Rumpel is slumped in a chair in front of my bed, his head lolled to the side, his eyes closed. He murmurs something in his sleep and then shifts. What's he doing here? I notice a notebook on his lap. And what is that journal? I slowly slide my hand out from underneath the covers and reach across the bed. Right as my fingers about to brush the cover, Rumpel's hand suddenly falls on mine. Looks like you're feeling better. He pulls his hand away along with the book before carefully setting my hand back down on the covers. At least you look better, but how do you feel? Better. Rumpel looks tired, but his smile is still there. Oh, I won't believe it until I see it. You just said I look better. That's my own analysis, but you, mostly Princess, don't sound very convinced. My throat is a little sore. I think if I stood up, I would fall over. Gasp. Why do you look so surprised? You would usually never admit to such a thing, would you? You're still most definitely sick. Rumpel leans forward to put a hand on my forehead. His hand is cool on my hot skin. Our eyes lock as he tests my temperature. After a few moments, he finally peels his eyes away from me and sits back in his chair. Your temperature is down, but you definitely need to rest, Princess. You should go back to sleep. And what, will you just sit there and watch me? The words come out curter than I meant to, and for a few moments Rumpel looks surprised. Then he laughs. Princess, I haven't just been staring at you. I've been writing in my journal, too. You have such a scary look on your face. Not that it isn't enticing, but I think your smiles are much better. I sigh as I close my eyes for a few moments. I fight to put my scrambled thoughts together, but one thought in particular keeps resurfacing. For some reason, I can't help but remember the snide woman standing by Rumpel's side, jeering at me earlier. I open my eyes and look at Rumpel. Those women from earlier. Oh right, I apologize for their impoliteness. The things I said to you were uncalled for, and I told them that. You flirt with women like that all the time, but why? They're not even good people. Not good people? But well, I suppose they act differently when you're there. Princess Evillan, you're blind to their jealousy, aren't you? Oof. They're jealous of me? Why? My mind turns over what they could possibly be jealous about as my eyes fall on Rumpel. I remember the way you defended me to the women. Is it because you're my partner? It's a lot more than that. It's your grace, the noble way you carry yourself. They would never think I have those qualities. But where else would their jealousy stem from? You're just jealous I take your attention away from them. Princess, I think even if they were nice people, I do not see how you can flirt with them when you were just recently in love with someone else. Oof, ouch. Normally I would stop talking, but the words continued tumbling out of me. I do not understand how someone like you who had a fiancé could still be flirting with girls. How can you love someone if all you do is flirt with other girls? Flattery is one thing, but you cannot just flatter every girl. Oof. Why are you still smiling at me? I may not remember a lot of things, Princess, but I know for certain that whatever feelings I had for Bria vanished a long time ago. The good ones, at least. Rumpel. The words break apart as I start coughing. Don't rile yourself up over this. Please rest. I slowly lean back into my pillows, my eyes half closed. Why do I even care about what Rumpel does? Why does it bother me that he flirts with other girls? That's his business. Rumpel pulls the cover closer to my chin and smiles. Just because I flatter other women doesn't mean that I can't love someone. You always say some woman has stolen your heart, but your heart cannot belong to everyone. True, very true. Yet you told me you always speak the truth. Maybe that in itself is a little white lie, just some harmless dramatics. But most girls know that I'm being dramatic, Princess. They don't take my words so seriously, even if I do mean my compliments. He stares at me for a few minutes, thoughtful. Does it bother you so much that I compliment other girls? Of course not. Though it will be difficult to hold my tongue, I will do it for you, Princess, so don't worry. Why would he do something like that for me? My eyes are suddenly so heavy I have no choice but to close them as I let out a deep sigh. My head is beginning to hurt again. Behind my closed eyelids I can hear a soft shuffle as Rumpel moves in his chair. Right before I fall back into the darkness of sleep, I feel something warm and soft on my head. Rumpel? A goodnight kiss. His words are quiet and I can only just barely make them out. I cannot think on them because the pull of sleep is much too tempting. It takes a while, but after several days, Rumpel finally allows me to go back to work. I cannot remember much of what happened when he was watching over me, especially the first day. It's a little bit of a blur now, just like it was all a dream. Princess, back up on your feet? Yes, I'm fine now. Oh, what a relief. Last I saw you, you looked quite pale. When? I dropped in to check on you in your room, but Rumpel was there. He told me that he had everything under control. Why did you need to check on me? Because I was worried, of course. Maybe you've been working too hard. No, I'm fine. Just tell me what things need to be done. Are you sure you're okay? She's fine, niece. Laura suddenly appears before me, smirking. The princess is sturdy and a little too stubborn to let his little sickness get her down. I have not spoken with Delora or Parfait since the night where they decided to tell me about Mother. Just thinking about what they told me, it puts me on edge. Princess, why the sour expression? Allow me to calm you down with a little lullaby. Excuse me? Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Oh my gosh. How I wonder what you are. Anise, give me those working orders now. Up above the world so high. Anise! Oh, the tables on the west are yours, Princess Evillan. I quickly walk away from the bar and catch only the last bit of Dolores singing. Like a diamond in the sky. She sang that the night I was cursed. Hearing her sing it again is infuriating. The song slowly fades from my mind as I go about my work for the day. I'm still a little shaky on my feet, but not so much that I need to go back to bed. As I'm walking around the bar, I catch snatches of conversation as I serve food. I hear the king is mediating arguments between his two advisors. That Mithros man? He reminds me of a snake, always smiling that slithery smile of his. That one and Alcaster. Apparently there's been no end to their squabbles. The king missed his monthly visit to town yesterday, didn't he? I wonder if he's sick. There's been no word from the palace, but I suppose he must have come down with something. Nothing would keep the king from visiting otherwise. What is going on at the palace? Ah, you heard about the incident with the royal guard? Apparently lots of them are getting dishonorably discharged. Found doing something to dishonor the king's name. Huh? Like what exactly? Not sure, that information is still under wraps. I'm walking forward, not watching where I'm going, when I collide with someone in my path. I feel a hand on my shoulder and then another lifts my chin. If it isn't the lovely princess, you're looking a lot peachier today. Because you're not as pale? Because the color's coming back into your skin? I'm still thinking of the king and the situations in the palace, and barely hear Rumpel's words. It isn't until he leans closer to me and narrows his eyes that I realize he's so close. Oof! Ah, now Sleeping Beauty is truly awake, and here I was hoping I would have an excuse to plant a kiss on your lips, my sweet princess. Not a single reaction today, not a slight blush, not a slap, not... Are you still sick? Must I perform another examination? Examination? Yes, but looking closely at your face, into your eyes. How are you a doctor, Rumpel? Rumpel stares at me with surprise. I'm not sure where the question came from, just that it was hovering in my mind. What? Princess, you wound me! I've not seen you do anything different from a niece. My prescriptions. Even the people at the shops could tell us what medicines to buy. Fine, I'll show you. Rumpel's expression slips into something shockingly solemn. He looks at me gravely and extends a hand. If you'd be so kind as to come up to my room. Does going up to your room have anything to do with work? Delora appears before me again, this time without the snide smile. She raises an eyebrow. I don't think either of your shifts are over. She looks at me first. Also, I meant for the lullaby to inspire you, not scare you, princess. For a few moments she looks concerned, which startles me. The lullaby is certainly associated with a terrible memory, but the weight of that memory has dissipated over time, as has my anger at Delora. It is still there, but holding on to that anger does me no good. I sigh and shake my head. You have a terrible voice. Ah, there's the princess we all know and love. She crosses her arms. Anyway, you don't want me to sing you into action again, do you? Come to my room later then, princess. I'll show you proof. Proof? That I'm a capable doctor. Rumpel walks off, leaving me with Delora, who looks at me skeptically for a few minutes. Something on your mind, princess? There's so many conversations I heard earlier, so many questions that I have. While I do not want to speak to Delora, I may as well ask her about something she might know. I overheard rumors about the palace. Did you now? We still haven't confirmed those rumors yet. Look, princess, I know it's not in your nature to trust people, but trust Parfait and me at least. We'll let you know if something is up. I'm ushered back to work, where I spend the next few hours searching for more information. Unfortunately, everything I hear is just speculation. Good work today, Evillan. Has Rumpel already left? I think he went up to his room earlier. Thank you. Anise looks at me, curious. What? You and Rumpel have grown a lot closer, haven't you? Well, we are partners. But in the beginning, you didn't even want him as a partner. And now the two of you are friends? Huh? Friends? If Rumpel considers me a friend, that should make me happy, but for some reason it makes me feel empty inside. Why? What else would we be besides friends? Ah, the big question. My cheeks feel warm as I try to think beyond the idea of just being friends with Rumpel. I'm happy that the two of you get along. Anise, I need to go. I told him I would meet him for something tonight. Oh, okay. Sorry for holding you up. Anise scrambles off, leaving me by myself. I stand there for a few moments in an attempt to still my thoughts, and then I begin to make my way to Rumpel's room. Rumpel? Oh, she knocks this time. Last time we were dating Karma, she didn't knock at all. She just like burst into their room, and they just had this thing where they burst into each other's rooms. The door swings open, and there stands Rumpel. With a dramatic bow, he ushers me inside, before closing the door behind him. I wasn't entirely certain you'd show up, Princess. Normally when you go places with me, it's out of necessity. I only came to see this proof you insisted upon earlier. Proof that you are more than what you seem. He places a hand on my back and guides me over to a chair. He requests that I sit, and I do. Here it is, my proof. You tried to read it while you were sick, too. The journal. Your journal? I've seen him write in this before, but I thought it was for his memories, not for doctor things. He barely even works on patients now. Rumpel's persistence stokes my curiosity, and soon I find myself flipping through the pages of the book. This was the journal you had when the merchant found you on the streets. You said it was empty then. It was. I've been filling things in it from memory ever since I remembered my job. The book is filled with diagrams of the body, both inside and out. I have no idea what most of the words mean. What are all the smaller words here? Oh, parts of the pancreas. Not very fun to talk about. There's the papilla, the pancreatic duct. Why is it necessary to use such big words for such simple things? Clarification. Sometimes when you diagnose a problem, it isn't as simple as telling a person that their heart is weak. I continue flipping through it, with Rumpel sometimes explaining things that are on the page, though I do not ask for the descriptions. Scattered throughout the journal are journal entries about his life. When I get to the last entry, I spot my name and begin to read, but before I can even get to the next word about my name, after my name, Rumpel has taken the journal from my hands. Ooh, he's been writing about me. Hey! Ah, sorry, my sweet, but a man's words are sometimes all he has. Insult them and you break him from the inside out. He thinks I'm going to insult his writing? But what did you think? Aren't you impressed with my sophistication, my breadth of knowledge, my intricacy? You drew some pictures and wrote fancy words by them. Oof. Princess, I cannot help the little laugh that escapes my lips. Immediately after I hear it, I feel myself flushing as Rumpel grins at me triumphantly. Your laughs are sweeter than honey, Princess. And because your voice is back and you're no longer sick, I can hear it in all of its fullness. He takes a step closer to me and reaches out to touch my cheek. I flinch in surprise, but do not draw away. The rapid beating of my heart is not altogether uncomfortable, even if it does confuse me. He pulls his hand away from my cheek and then flicks my forehead. Lol. What was that for? I wanted to see the way your eyes glimmered. You looked oddly vacant there for a few moments. I opened my mouth to speak again, but Rumpel surprises me by setting a finger on my lips. He inches closer to me, so close that I can feel his breath on my cheeks. But even when you don't speak, your eyes speak for you. You have beautiful eyes, you know. Alright. Another decision. I think we're gonna... Let's just look at him. Let's, get a good look at him. Does he ever truly mean his compliments? I know he spoke about meaning everything he says, but... I continue to stare at him. I do not look away even once, though I do feel a slight shudder run through me when Rumpel keeps my gaze. Fierce as always. He removes his finger but does not step back. We are still so close I can feel his breath. Fierce. You, never backing down from anything. Always resisting, always putting up a wall. That's what I... His words falter, and then he simply stops what he was saying. He looks at me again. He clears his throat and then starts speaking again. In any case, it's so nice to have you back, Princess. I missed you while you were sleeping day in and day out. Alright, that was not the right choice, but I'm glad we got that cute little scene with Rumpel. Let us look away. There he goes again with his compliments. I should just be used to them by now, but lately whenever he compliments me, I cannot stop myself from feeling flattered. When I look into his eyes, I can almost see my reflection in them. Without realizing, I look away from him, feeling my breath stop short before I can breathe out. Are you sick, Princess? You look a little flushed. Princess? He removes his finger. He does not, however, step back. I'm still aware of his lips, so close to mine, and his eyes, which are still looking right at me. There we go. There's our good girl points. This feels different from your usual resistance. Could it be that you're embarrassed? Maybe. He clears his throat and then starts speaking again. In any case, it's so nice to have you back, Princess. I missed you while you were sleeping day in and day out. You missed me? But you have friends all over the Marchand. Yes, but none of them are you. You're special. My heart plunges like a rock. I can feel it everywhere in my body, reverberating from a place that doesn't feel like my chest. He lowers his voice so that the two of us are seeing eye to eye. I forget to breathe as his hand goes to my shoulders. Princess? Yes? I inhale sharply as I get a better look at Rumpel's face. Up until now, I have not stopped looking. Oh my gosh. I inhale sharply as I get a better look at Rumpel's face. Up until now, I have not stopped to look too closely at his features, but now I cannot stop my eyes from taking them in. Whenever you're sick again, I'll be there to help you, because I am a doctor, even if you might not believe it. All you'll ever really need is a little vitamin me. Oh my god. There's the goofiness we get from Rumpel. I miss that. He's been so serious lately. I love the goofy music too. It's so good. In one precious moment, every single bit of energy that had been between us vanishes. I stare blankly at Rumpel as he smiles at me. No? I thought that one was actually good too. That was good. It was very smooth, Rumpel. I liked it. A little cheesy, but I liked it. Rumpel pulls his hand away, defeated. I suddenly feel strangely upset. What was I expecting from him? What else could he said? What else could he have said? Suddenly, I'm eager to look away from him. I look anywhere but at him, and eventually my eyes fall on a piece of paper. I recognize the name printed on top, along with Rumpel's signature in the response lying next to it. Rumpel moves to stand in front of the desk once more. Ah, that's... You're still writing to Bria? I sent her a letter asking for my old journals. I'm convinced that that's where the last of my memories are, but she refuses to give them to me. I glance at Bria's letter, my eyes scouring the words. I make a mental note of the address on the top. But don't worry, Princess, I'll figure it out. But for now, he reaches for me, but I duck out of the way of his hand. I have to do this now while the address is still fresh in my mind. I just remembered, there's something I need to do. But Princess, I'll see you tomorrow. I pause at the doorway to glance at Rumpel. See you tomorrow, Princess. Sweet dreams. Good night, Rumpel. What are we gonna go do? What are we gonna go do? Done. I sealed the envelope over the letter I had been writing since I woke up, and now I have to have it delivered. After I have the letter sent off with the messenger, I return to my work for the day. It starts first with Mr. Broom, then with the serving. I look for Rumpel, knowing that it is now his time off, and I'm surprised when I see him sitting not with other women, but with Karma. Uh-oh, are him and Karma gonna get into a fight again? The two of them are laughing together? I guess that advice isn't too terrible. I give the best advice, darling. I'm a man of the heart. Perhaps not as much as I am, but I can give you credit when it's due. What are you two talking about? Princess. Well, hello there, Princess. Karma's mischievous smile confuses me. Even Rumpel looks surprisingly shaken. You did not answer my question. We are talking about matters related to the heart. Of course you are. I took it upon myself to impart valuable advice to Rumpel. You're giving Rumpel advice, even though you two are always at each other's throats? Ha! Even the bitterest enemies can become beloved friends. All it takes is a shared interest. I have no idea what you're talking about. But before I can say anything else, I'm swept up by Delora, who calls me back to work. The day goes on, and soon it's almost my break. I go to the front to see if the messenger has returned yet. How many hours will I stream today? I kind of want to finish Rumpel's route, if it doesn't take too much longer. We're in like chapter 6 or 7, and I think there's only 8 chapters, so I like to finish up Rumpel's route and get his good ending today. So if we can do that, that's where I'm probably going to end stream. The day goes on, and soon it is almost my break. I go to the front to see if the messenger has returned yet. Oh, Princess, there's a letter here for you. I did not expect a response. I opened it up and stared down at the letter for a long time. Writing love letters to a secret lover, Princess? Rumpel appears behind me, his smile unusually small. He almost looks to be hesitant to be standing there. It is not important. I stuff the letter into my pocket and continue working. For the rest of the day, I ignore Rumpel. I do not want him to ask about this letter, just in case things do not go according to plan. He is obviously disheartened by my ignoring him, and his sadness only persists in making me feel guilty. This is not something he can know about, otherwise he will try to stop me. What are we gonna go do? Almost everyone has gone to their rooms, including a very saddened Rumpel. The only people remaining are Anise and myself. Earlier, Waltz came in, insisting that he speak to Delora and Parfait, and so the three of them were all talking in another room. Curiosity gets the better of me, and soon I find myself sweeping closer to the door. I edge it open quietly with my foot so that I can see what is happening inside. I didn't think he was still alive. This is very troubling. He must have used a glamour. But the fact that I didn't realize it was him, is that the princess I spot peeping through the door? Caught. I try to hide, but all the eyes in the room catch me before I can do so. Do you eavesdrop on people often, Evillan? Yes, we do. We eavesdrop quite a bit. I had no real reason to eavesdrop on them, besides my own curiosity. It's no harm done, Delora. Evillan, are you almost done with your chores? Ever since that conversation with Parfait and Delora, I have noticed that the words Parfait and I speak to each other are strained. Delora, however, is unchanged. I expect sarcasm from her now, but she does not deliver. She simply stands still and looks at me somberly. I am. And what are you talking about? Hiding more things from me? We're talking about the rumors that have been going around about the palace. What have you heard? I have a right to know what's happening at the palace. We would tell you if we knew for certain, Princess. Walt sighs as he runs a hand through his hair. I know the timing doesn't seem right, but I really should show myself out. I have a show early morning tomorrow. He glances around at all of us. I'm going to excuse myself for the night. Good night, everyone. As he passes me by, he smiles. And to you too, Princess. Once again, everyone is being secretive. Why the sour face, Princess? Are you worried about what happens to the people in the palace you cared nothing for? Delora! That's true. We didn't care about them in the beginning, but now maybe we care about them a little bit. Okay, that was uncalled for. But really, though, is there something I've been meaning to tell you? Since you're here now, I may as well say it. I knew you for 1 year before I cursed you. I saw what your mother had done to you, and I knew I needed to undo the damage before your birthday. Why is she talking about this now? I called you cruel and wicked when really I knew that the way you were caused by... Oh my gosh, I can't read today. I called you cruel and wicked when really I knew that the way you were was caused by the way your mother brought you up. Such a weird sentence. I don't know if it's just me, but that seems like a weird sentence. And then, when we talked about Hildred the other day, I was unfair in what I said to you. We all have to face reality, but... Delora pauses, looking surprisingly solemn. She sighs, then continues. I always knew you had some good in you. I saw it in you when you spoke to your dolls. You have a good heart. Gasp. Many people enjoy flattery, Princess, and a lot of people are receptive to flirting. Nothing can measure up to a genuine compliment. Delora just complimented me? Thank you. We're gonna say thank you, because that's what you do when someone compliments you. Out of all people, I did not expect Delora to compliment me, not when she makes a point of always telling me the blunt truth. Drink some water. Maybe I should. I've been drinking coffee all this time. My voice is like giving out. Thank you. There's no shock on Parfait and Delora's faces when they smile at me. I'm beginning to think you and Delora are alike. You're both stubborn and have good in you, but you hide it behind sarcasm. Hey, Evillan and I are nothing alike. I feel lighter somehow. I do not know if I have forgiven Delora just yet, but her cursing me has led me to see many things I would not have seen before. I owe her nothing, but I'm still happy, even if the truth hurts. Oh, what's this? My lovely little princess is in here with you too? Ah, Rumpel, you're early tonight. Gasp. Surprised to see me, beautiful? Rumpel's earlier anxiety is gone. He looks at me with unbridled enthusiasm. I heard the princess thank you from a distance. The words are always more beautiful when leaving her mouth. So you are also eavesdropping. You two are very alike. Not at all. Rumpel leans towards me and smiles. There we go. Good girl points. I was wondering about that. I was like, oh no, did we make a mistake? But no, we're good. Thank goodness. My dream is to one day hear those words from you too, because you say them as gentle as the wind. Gasp. If you're here to talk to Parfait about some medicine, then I'm out. Evillan, you should leave too. Well then, sleep well, beautiful maidens. We have a letter to read. I quickly finished my chores and returned to my room, where I lay on my bed contemplating tomorrow. I cannot believe Bria wrote back to me. Tomorrow I will meet with her and hopefully she will agree to give me his journals. I hope this works. For Rumpel's sake. Is she gonna slash them and destroy them for handing them over? Chevalier. Today I'm outside by myself. I think if Parfait or Delora knew, they would do worse than scold me. I shuffle uncomfortably as I sit at the little cafe Bria told me to wait for her at. A part of me is already convinced that she will not come. When I wrote her that letter asking for Rumpel's journals and she responded so easily, I was a little suspicious, but this is really the only chance I have. The only chance we'll have at what? Oof! Bria appears in front of me, not looking altogether unpleased, but still not smiling. Nothing. I do not like her, but I will have to play nice if I want to get Rumpel's journals back. Thank you for meeting me out here. Bria takes a seat in front of me, her expression still flat. You asked me in your letter why I was refusing to speak to Rumpel, and then you told me you wanted to meet with me to find out why. You want the journals too, don't you? She reaches into a bag and pulls out a few journals that I assume are Rumpel's. Ooh, okay. So she does have them. I know in your eyes I must seem the villain, but I'm the only one at fault in this relationship. Well, I'm not the only one at fault in this relationship. Years ago when I met Rumpel, he was as he is now. Flirtatious, charming, over the top, and yet his compliments still made my heart sore. His compliments may be shallow, but Rumpel is far from it. I pined after him for years. He was learning medicine, and I was studying to take over my mother's sewing shop. In the first years that I knew him, Rumpel has always complimented my work, even though it was nothing special. He insisted we do trade-offs. When we started dating, he would offer me flowers and trinkets, and in exchange I would sew him some article of clothing. I can see he's still wearing the scarf I made him. That scarf was from Bria. We fell in love. Rumpel became a changed man, more serious. He became a doctor, and I opened up a shop. We were supposed to have a fairy tale ending, but as her expression falls again as she looks down absently at the table. We saw in each other's ideals that didn't exist. Love can be shallow, or it can be deep. I felt our love was deep, but in truth I only ever knew the very surface of Rumpel. The surface? I saw his kindness, his charm, and his drive to do what was right. But then as time went on, I also saw what that meant. The world is a place where only the strong survive. People are kind, but they will take advantage of those who are too caring. Oh, so she's saying that, he was too caring about his patients? That's why she left him? Those sound like Mother's words. I shudder as I think about Mother's pessimism, the same kind that lies in me. It is a realistic way of looking at the world, but it is also so dismal and cloudy that it is impossible to see any light within it. Rumpel helped a lot of people. Many of them were wonderful people, and I was always happy to see him do so much. But then, he started putting other people above himself, and because we lived together, that meant me as well. Maybe it sounds petty to you, but no woman wants to live in poverty. I look at her skeptically. In the back of my mind, I remember the convenience of luxury, of so much money. I then recall the feeling of living poor on the streets and flinch. We had a house and we had a reputation, but Rumpel refused money most of the time. He helped out lots of poor people, but he also dried out our wallets. And whenever I brought it up to him, he would smile as if it could just get rid of all of our problems. He made a name for himself as a doctor who helped the poor for minimal money, sometimes for free. And even when I told him we needed more money, he put other people first. He was so selfless that he became selfish. And I told him before that he should have accepted the money, that he needed it. So selfless, he became selfish. I had to go behind his back and find payment. What I was making wasn't enough. So I went to find his patients and tried to ask for payment. I became almost like a beggar. Can you imagine my humiliation? Yeah, but you shouldn't have been going back, getting at his patients for money after he said that he doesn't need it. You should have talked to him about it further, I think. Rumpel put his patients before Bria. I was convinced he didn't love me, and my love dwindled for him. Our relationship became strained. Bria goes on to explain the events that happened between her and the nobleman. He was one of Rumpel's patients, and when she went to ask for the money he had originally offered, the two of them became intimate. But it was short-lived, and when the nobleman left her behind, Bria had to deal with a soured reputation. I wanted to make it up to Rumpel. I thought I could salvage this relationship, maybe even start over and teach him what was right, but that is not my place. She sighs deeply and then gestures at me. I share blame in all of this too, but so does Rumpel. That's why I've decided to let all this go. Whatever he does now, you'll have to deal with, because you're his partner, right? Bria hands me the bag of journals. Oh my goodness. Don't look so surprised. You came here for these, not to listen to me. I thought on it last night, and I have no reason to keep them around when they'll just continue making me bitter. I'll have to rely on myself for a while, but that's fine. Sometimes it's easier to convince yourself than to trust others. Oh, it's easier to keep to yourself than trust others. She moves to stand up, but I surprise myself by reaching out to grab her hand. The gasp! Bria, I don't need your pity. I thought the same thing. What? I still think the same thing. It's so much easier to close the world off. It is so much easier to trust no one but yourself, but it should also be a balance. That is what Rumpel has taught me. And I want to teach him how to have balance too. You? You're falling for his kindness the same way I did. You fell in love with him, even though you told yourself he was shallow and unrealistic. My heart thumps loudly in my chest, just once. Love? I can read it right off your face. I know how it feels too, but don't get wrapped up in an ideal, little girl. That is my warning. If you can help him, actually help him, then you're meant to be together. But otherwise, trusting Rumpel might only break your heart. I'm not a little girl. I know how to be realistic. My words trail off as I look at her helplessly. Bria surprises me by speaking up quietly. Thank you for listening to me. She pulls her hand away and slowly smiles at me. It's the first honest smile I've seen on her face. I feel something warm in my chest, and then a bright light emanates from my necklace. Good deed number 2! A good deed for listening to Bria, or... I glance down at the bag of journals, then down at my necklace. Ew, we did do something selfless. We went and got the journals for Rumpel, even though, like, he didn't know that we were going to go get them. And we faced Bria all by ourselves. I touch the pendant. A new piece brings a brief smile to my lips. I have 2 good deeds now. Only one more and I can break my curse. Magic? Is this another fairy tale curse? Yes. Your name was Evillan, wasn't it? Rumpel talked about you fondly. I hope that the both of you break your curses. Good luck. Bria walks away, leaving me by myself in the town square. My mind swirls with everything she just told me. I still cannot bring myself to like Bria, but I feel more closure now. But now something new plagues my mind. How could I fall in love with someone like Rumpel? The more I say it, the more it becomes a certainty, but rather than fill me with joy, it only makes me more confused. I cannot think about this now. I turn on my heels to head back and bump promptly into a man. Oh no! I remember this guy. He was a mysterious figure in the last route we did. Oh, sorry, madam. He smiles at me and keeps walking. I wonder who you are. I stare after him, feeling slightly uncomfortable. With the mask and the cloak, the man reminded me of a performer. I make my way back to the merchant with the bag of journals, still struggling to keep my mind from wandering. Every time I think about Rumpel being so close to me or his kindness towards me, I feel jittery inside. Despite everything that Bria said, I cannot stop these feelings. These feelings are annoying. Of course you would find them annoying. Oh, goodness. Yet even as I think that, I know it is not the full truth. Do I really? I hear the merchant's door opening, and out steps Waltz. The minute he sees me, his eyes widen, and he runs towards me. Princess, where were you? I was running an errand. I hold up the bag, and it does little to ease Waltz's frustration. We were all looking for you, and we got worried that the witches had found you. Rumpel already went out into town. What? I'll go... Please, Princess, stay inside. His expression softens somewhat until all I can see on his face is worry. I'll go get Rumpel. Alright, staying inside is probably the best thing to do. We don't want to get kidnapped again. My mood feels completely dashed as I enter the merchant into whispers, both relieved and disappointed. Surprisingly, I get away with just a lecture from Delora and Parfait. It seems as if there's something else on their mind, something that most likely involves the rumors circulating around town. I wait downstairs for a long time for Rumpel, but neither him nor Waltz appear. Where are they? I retired to my room later as I wait for news. Waltz eventually returned, saying that Rumpel is still out because he had things he wanted to do. I have no idea what that means, but it unsettles me. Should I go find him? Ooh. Should we go find him? If we stay in the room, I feel like she's eventually gonna say, like, you know, let's go find him anyways. So it seems to be the case when we pick the wrong choice. It just forces us into the right choice. So, Rumpel wants us to stay safe and not really worry about him. So maybe we should stay? I think I'm gonna stay. Knowing everyone, if I tried to leave the merchant, they would get riled up again. I already had Delora come in so many times to make sure I'm still here. I sit up on my bed and stare at the bag of journals beside my bedside table. Journals. And here I was, looking forward to giving those journals to him. I'm still here, Delora. Rumpel stands in the doorway. I stare at the bouquet he has in his hand, wondering where he got it and what it might be for. Ah, there she is, the wonderful Princess Evillan. I was worried you had come and gone with the wind again, free spirit that you are. I stand as he steps into the room. I'm glad to see you back, Princess. I'm only sorry that I couldn't make it back here any faster. I had a few errands on my own to run in town. Rumpel holds out the bouquet with a glittering smile. Like buying these flowers for the girl that I really like, for instance. I stared down at the beautiful bouquet made of white lilies, but the appearance slowly leaves my mind as I think about what Rumpel just said. He bought them for the girl that he likes, not for me. My heart feels like it might be pierced through with something sharp. My breath escapes my throat, but I cannot bring myself to inhale again. Rumpel looks at me in alarm. Evillan. I nudged him out of the way and walked past him. Ooh. I make my way to the reception area where I collapse onto one of the couches and sit, staring blankly at the walls. The feelings inside of me are too much all at once. I tell myself they do not make any sense, and that the way I reacted to what Rumpel said was pitiful. And yet I still cannot help myself from feeling small. I sink into the couch and close my eyes, willing away the sound of my rapidly beating heart and the tears stinging the edge of my eyes. Uh-oh, are we gonna cry? I have a feeling that we're gonna cry before the end of this route. I am not weak. I will not cry. Mother told me. But the thought of Mother makes the tears worse, and soon I am sinking even further into the couch, trying to hide my tear-stained face in my hands. Mother. Bria. They both said the same things. They both see the bad in people, and I too have seen the bad in them. When I was on the streets, no one in NGL showed me kindness. People will never show you kindness unless there's something in it for them. They will never... I feel suddenly warmth as arms wrap around me. I recognize the sensation, the warmth, the comfort. It is all so comforting, so soothing. I must be the worst person in the world to make such a beautiful lady cry is a sin that I must atone for. My body stiffens, but I do not pull away. I listen to the sound of his heartbeat against my ear, and slowly but surely my crying dies away. My eyes are sore by the time I finally manage to still the tears. I feel drowsiness descend upon me like a blanket, but I will not fall asleep. Slowly I pry myself from the arms holding me. Hello, my love. I messed up again, didn't I? I do not see the bouquet in his hands, but a journal. One of the journals I brought back from him from Bria. You're capable of a lot more good than I am, Princess. Just look at this. He reaches out and touches my necklace. I glance down at it. 2 pieces. You got my journals back for me. I saw them in your room. And I felt it, that this one, the most recently dated one, is the one that I need to unlock my final memory. I grasp the second incomplete clasp slip around my neck and breathe out softly. And this really is from retrieving Rumpel's journals for him. I got a good deed of finally doing something good for Rumpel. Would you allow me to read it with you? He reaches out and gently brushes a tear from my face. You did all this for me and you barely know anything about me. That makes both of us. And he doesn't know very much about her either. If you wouldn't mind, I want to read out this entry for you. I nod, even though I should be shaking my head. Even though I should still be hurt, I cannot stay mad at Rumpel. On this night I am a poor man. Everything that is precious to me has been stolen away by the witch. Rumpel's voice catches in his throat as he stares at the words. I look over his shoulder at the journal. Witch, was he already cursed when he wrote this? But I have no one to blame but myself. Bria told me before that I would suffer for my selflessness, and now I find myself here. Oops, wrong button. And now, because of that same selflessness, Bria is sick and I cannot save her. Oh, goodness. There's only one thing left to do. I have wronged Bria in so many ways, and now I will give anything it takes to save her. No matter what price the witch asks, I will pay it. I only hope that Bria can forgive me before she leaves. I will write again when the witch has left. I swear that after today, I will change for good. I will not ask the witch to perform any more miracles. Rumpel's finger goes to the page where he softly touches a single word. His eyes have the glazed look in them that they have before, and I can tell his memories are snapping back together. For tonight, good night, and may tomorrow be a better morning. I read the last words, a name and a signature. Rumpel reads it out loud slowly. Chevalier Dumont. Ooh! We finally got a name! Your name is Chevalier? He looks up at me, his eyes forlorn, and then with sadness he speaks. That's right. It's so strange. It's just a different name, and yet it seems to change him completely. I remember everything now. I was given the Rumpelstiltskin curse because I sacrificed too much. First it was the boy, the one we saw in the market. I struck a deal with a woman to save him. A witch. He mentioned striking a deal with a woman, but a witch? I don't have the ability to heal, none of us do, except for one particular witch who calls herself the Witch Doctor. Yeah, I figured she would have something to do with this arc. Witch Doctor? Is something wrong? That name just sounds familiar. The Witch Doctor? It's no wonder I recognized the name, but yes, it was her. She promised she could heal the boy, but for a price, I had to give her a family heirloom, my family's stethoscope. Next was a nobleman. I could not help him, and so he lay in his bed dying. The witch visited again, and I gave her what she asked for. What did you give her? My engagement ring. Ooh. Yeah, that's a big one. Bria found out. She told me she'd never forgive me, and then she chased the nobleman to ask for the money we desperately needed, and... well, you know the rest. Yeah, she ended up cheating on you. For money. He gave away the things that were precious to him, all to help those people. And then Bria got sick. I made one last deal with the witch because I was desperate to save her life. But it wasn't until after she healed Bria that she told me what she wanted. She wanted your memories. I don't remember what happened exactly. I think I panicked because I suddenly lost my memories. I ran out into the alleys, bumped my head on something, fell unconscious. And then I woke up here in the tavern, and I had no idea who I was or how I'd gotten cursed. Rumpel Chevalier's expression grows more somber. I deserved to be cursed, but after everything I'd done, I was so selfish. An idealist maybe, but I hurt Bria because I refused to see reality. Yeah, you can't just help people for like nothing. Like all the time. You can't give from an empty cup. I still deserve to be cursed, actually. But why? Because I'm still selfish. Even having remembered everything that made me a bad person, I still desire something. Someone I shouldn't have. My heart plummets again as he looks at me. I still want so badly to forge a future with someone I don't deserve, because what am I other than a poor doctor? I'm no knight in shining armor, and I'm no prince. He puts a hand on my cheek and leans closer to me. The distance between us closes in mere inches. Mere seconds. But still, I keep on dreaming, because His fingers gently caress my cheek, and suddenly, I know what he's gonna say before he even says it. Oh, we have to say it first. We have to say it first. We're gonna say it first. Gasp. But I'm not... Whether you're Rumpel or Chevalier, you're the same person. You do not need to be a knight or a prince. He accepted me for who I was, and he still does. Mother told me that humans were untrustworthy, but... Chevalier smiles at me as he puts his other hand on my back and pulls me closer. The smile is so genuine, so gentle, the same smile I've grown to love. Aww, yay! Whatever words I had been meaning to say die in my throat as he leans forward and gently places his lips on mine. I feel more grounded than I have ever felt before, but I also feel like I'm flying. I set my hands on his chest and flex my fingers into his shirt. He runs his fingers gently down my face and then down the length of my neck. This kiss feels so short, yet I'm still breathless when Chevalier pulls away from me, just enough so I can see his eyes. I love you, my sweet princess. For your smile, for your laugh, for the way that you look out for other people, you're bold and feisty, and you remind me of a firework. You're beautiful, inside and out. The compliment warms my heart in a way that makes me feel like it might be melting. He reaches behind him and holds out the bouquet from earlier. These are for you. You like lilies, don't you? I take the bouquet from him and bring it to my nose. They have always been my favorite flower. How did you know? Chevalier grins at me, and it is so similar to his previous smiles that I know he must not have changed. The first time I gave you that white chocolate flower, your eyes lit up. I figured out that Chevalier was perceptive before, but the bouquet in my hands feels all the more meaningful now. Princess, I swear that I want to try and change. For you. You should do it for yourself, too. Myself? You should spoil yourself more, too. You always give to others, but don't take for yourself. Now you know what you did, you can change things. If Bria can, then so can I. Bria? I went and spoke to her when I was in town today while I was getting the bouquet as a gift for you. We had to talk about moving on. I didn't understand it fully, and I don't think she did either, but we both agreed that we should. So I'm going to change what I can, Princess. And I promise that I'm going to help you break your curse, just as you helped me break mine. That's true, our curse is not broken yet. All the good things I have done are for you. That's true. But you've done a lot of you've done a lot of other good things too, even if they may not be big enough to count for your 3 good deeds. It just so happens that your curse is very picky. It is very picky. I was gonna say, because she does all this work for the marchand, and at first she was only supposed to sweep, but now she's sweeping and serving tables and checking inventory. I think some of that should be counted as a good deed, but I don't know. That seems like a lot of work. Good things. Even though I'm still curt and say more hurtful things than not. I fingered the necklace at my neck and thought, maybe Chevalier is right. Maybe I have changed, and it is a good change. I sit close to Chevalier as the night goes on. He tells me a little bit about his past, and I tell him about mine. About Mother and the palace. The night is not one for advice, just listening. And I remember what Chevalier told me once, that listening can be just as meaningful as advice, that listening to others can help you understand them. And he was right. Princess, are you okay? Sigh. Oh, if it isn't the princess, are those dark circles under your eyes from a romantic night out? You were out with someone last night? No, they're from being woken up early by Delora to do chores. Delora grins at me from the other side of the bar, but says nothing as she goes back to a conversation with another boarder. Darling, you're no fun at all. You must tell me what happened last night. Last night? Did you like the bouquet? Oh my goodness, Karma. Oh, did Karma give Rumpel the idea to go get a bouquet? That'd be funny. I like that even though we're not dating Karma in this one, he's still a good wingman for Rumpel. I think that's funny. How did you know about the bouquet? Why? Because it was my suggestion. When Chevalier was asking Karma for advice, it was about me? Gasp. Look at the way she smiled, niece. Last night must have gone well. I'm confused. What happened last night? I'm going to get Rumpel to give me all the juicy details when he comes downstairs. Oh my god, Karma. That's Chevalier, it's you. Chevalier appears behind Karma, smiling. He seems a lot calmer today than usual. He glances over Karma at me, and we catch each other in a silent gaze. Seeing his eyes reminds me of last night, which makes me inadvertently flush. Chevalier just winks at me. Chevalier, what is that? Something you should say when a person sneezes? That's cute. No, that's his name. Rumpel, that is. Chevalier broke his curse yesterday. There's a stunned silence from everyone in the immediate area. Even Delora walks over to us. What's this about a broken curse? Was it you, Rumpel? He's going by something that sounds like a fancy cake. Karma. I love Karma's lines. Parfait seems to be bursting with excitement. Though she is her usual calm self on the outside, I can tell by the bounce in her step and by the way she raises her voice to make an announcement that she is proud. When everyone has learned that Chevalier has broken his curse, people come to the table offering drinks and congratulations. Hold on, I need a drink. Chevalier gets lost in a crowd, mostly a woman, but much to my surprise, Chevalier does not flirt back with any of them. And then, in between our celebrations for Chevalier, the front door of the merchant opens and Waltz rushes inside. Where are Delora and Lady Parfait? I need to speak to them immediately. Waltz, you're just in time. Something has happened at the palace. Uh-oh. The room goes quiet at Waltz's proclamation. A few people shift uneasily in their chairs. Some try to go back to conversation. Most people do not care what happens in the palace, but they can tell by the tone of Waltz's voice that it is bad. What's happened at the palace? An uprising. An uprising? What? That's what I'm saying. What? A coup staged by the witches. Witches have taken over the palace. The information is so sudden it makes me dizzy. I reach out to grab the table and my hand lands on the wood before I can slip. Witches have taken over the palace? An army of them? No, only a few. Jurian strides across the room, quickly followed by Garland. What's this about witches taking over? We have some of the best knights at the palace. There's no way witches could break in under the palace's guard. Unless they had someone inside helping them. Gasp. Alcaster? No, Mithros. Who are we talking about? You know him as Mithros. He uses a different name now. Sir Mithros, the king's advisor? He's a witch? There's no way Mithros is a witch. We would have known. Glamour. He used a glamour. Oh, everything Waltz says suddenly gets swallowed up in questions. Julian and Garland ask questions after question, while others start surrounding Waltz to ask him what has happened to the king and his children. I try to step closer to listen, but I cannot hear over the frantic voices in the room. Sir Mithros, I never trusted him, but I never thought he would be a witch. The room only quiets down when Delora and Parfait come to punctuate the conversation with their own demands for everyone to give Waltz space. The merchant boarders are all taken into the reception room, where Waltz stands at attention, waiting to answer questions. He explains that he was looking into a rumor about Sir Mithros from only a few days ago when he found out about the witches' uprising. It was a surprise attack orchestrated by Mithros, who let the witches in through a secret entrance to the palace. Alcaster was killed during the uprising. Oh my goodness. Many knights were injured and are currently being tended to in clinics and hospitals around the town. After his explanation, I feel even worse than I did in the main room. I stare at Waltz at a loss. What of Fritz? Fritz? Sir Alcaster's son. Fitzgerald. He was my personal knight. If Sir Alcaster was killed during the uprising, where did that put Fritz? Was he working with Sir Alcaster or with Sir Mithros? Did he escape? I'm sorry, Princess. I haven't heard anything about a knight named Fitzgerald. Was he killed? He was killed last route. The thought makes my heart plummet. No, Fritz cannot possibly be dead. I have to believe that he is still alive. I feel Chevalier's hand on my shoulder briefly before it slides off. Are there any of the king's knights remaining in the palace? If they are, then they've either been forced to turn against the king or they've been killed. Is Mithros sitting on the throne? No, he usurped the king, but he hasn't taken his throne. Waltz turns to me and his expression softens. Princess, feel free to ask me whatever you want. I'm sorry I didn't answer all your questions earlier. I have so many questions, but I suppose I will ask them one at a time. What's happened to the king and the others? I'm not sure. From what I've heard, the king and his family, your family, are still alive. I never cared for any of my stepfamily, but hearing that they're okay is still a relief. Mithros may be keeping them prisoner for now. What is a glamour? Dolores steps in to answer the question. A glamour is a high-level magic used to conceal one's identity. It can keep even other witches from sensing you. Parfait cast the same magic on you shortly after you came to the tavern. It was to protect you from the evil witches. A glamour can only be conjured by the powerful witches. It sounds as if this witch has been using glamour to hide himself from others. See, do you know Mithros? It was a long time ago. We both shared the same teacher. Teacher? Wait. Waltz, are you a... Yeah, Waltz is a witch. Yeah. He smiles at me, but it is weak and does not reach his eyes. Myth has always been very competitive. I thought that he had died at the end of the Great War, but he's been in the palace this whole time. Well, he only changed his name by adding an O and an S to it. You really didn't think that was him? Mithros? Hello? His disguise is so simple. I should have realized his name was so similar, but that's what I was saying. You couldn't have helped it. That's what the glamour does to you. Maybe if I wasn't cursed, if I had more of my magic, I would have been able to sense him. Who has claimed the crown? As of right now, no one. The king's been kicked off the throne, and Mithros has made a public announcement about usurping the throne, but he does not call himself king. Is he trying to win the throne over for someone? Well, not Alcaster. Last time we made it Karma's route, Alcaster was the bad guy, and he was trying to usurp the throne for himself. But this time, he's dead, and Mithros is here, which last time Mithros had been killed by Alcaster. So it's kind of like a reverse right now. Myth has no one left. He was obsessed with our teacher, but she is gone. Maybe he has different alliances now? Parfait's eyes look distant as she stares dismally down at the ground. If my curse were broken, I would charge in right now and destroy him. Waltz's expression becomes so dark it sends a shiver through me. It isn't like Waltz to look so angry. We need to come up with a plan. Even if you weren't cursed, you would still not be able to defeat Mithros when he has other witches with him. Witches are trickier to handle. Can't just be plunged through with a sword, eh? I agree with Karma. If all of us go in with swords and shields, we should be able to take the palace back. This is what we've been practicing for. Even the witches will die if you stick a sword through their heart, won't they? But getting to a witch who knows you're there is difficult. I must do something. You must do something. Oh, okay. I want to help. Chevalier wraps his fingers around my wrist and frowns. Princess, this whole time I've been living at the Merchant. I was spared the fate of the royal family by sheer coincidence because I was cursed. I cannot just sit here and do nothing while the kingdom falls to a witch. It fell to witches before and there were dire consequences. I cannot continue to be passive. I will not let myself be like Mother. Princess, oh goodness. Full name. I am Evillan Riella Britton, the Crown Princess of Angiel, and I will not stand by and watch when the kingdom is in turmoil. The room goes quiet at my statements. Chevalier's fingers loosened on my hand. I can see a ghost of a smile on his face, though it underlies his sorrow. Spoken like a true princess. Hell yeah! Whether or not you want to help, Princess, you really can't. You won't be able to use magic until your 18th birthday. That's when you become the bearer. I cannot let that stop me. I will find a way. The conversation in the room continues for a long while. At some point, it is said that volunteers are needed at the hospitals and clinics for the injured soldiers. Chevalier immediately volunteers. Only afterward does he look at me with regret. Princess, I'm sorry. For what? For putting my job before you, after all I just said. He told me he was going to try his best to change. Bria called him selfless before putting his work before her, but you would be a fool not to. Now this is like extreme circumstances. Like, you need to help. My life is not in any danger, and there are people who need you more than I do. Do what you do best, Chevalier. Princess Evillan, I promise I will do whatever I can to help you as well. As the meeting disbands, I am left standing there and quiet. The last to leave is Waltz, who promises me that he will make things right. I'm going to trust everyone, but I'm also not going to stand idle. I will make things right, somehow. As is my responsibility as Crown Princess. I like that we're taking our Crown Princess role like with responsibility. Chapter 9, The Witch Puppet. I think this is the last chapter. Another long night. The two of us are on our way back to the Merchant after visiting a clinic in town. We were there for hours, and it is a relief to be out in the open now, where I can feel the wind on my skin. Are you okay, Princess? I know that what you saw must have been difficult. I'm sorry I couldn't shield you from the majority of it. I volunteered to help Chevalier at the clinic part-time, but it is worse than I had expected. Many of the soldiers have severe wounds. I had thought that most of the injuries sustained by the knights during the upheaval were only minor. But I was wrong. Their injuries are much worse. Princess? He reaches out and laces his fingers through mine, then gives me a soft smile as he squeezes my hand. Are you okay? I'm fine. It has only been one day since the uprising at the palace. I had thought there would be less blood. I was wrong. Is this what things were like after the Great War? I wasn't a fully certified doctor after the Great War, but I was an assistant. It was far worse than this, Princess. We cannot have a repeat of the Great War. I do not know why Mithras would kill Sir Alcaster and take the throne without claiming the crown, but the witches already have a bad name and he's making it worse. I cannot help but remember the wide smiles Mithras gave me when I was still living in the palace. Every time I felt his eyes on me, I felt there was something strange about him. There was always a cloudiness to his eyes, something unreadable. He was excellent at his job, but also an enigma outside of it. The sudden breeze chills my skin. Let's go back before you freeze out here. The two of us begin our walk back to the merchant. Thoughts of the palace, the king, and my stepfamily cloud my mind. Since I've been staying at the merchant, I have not seen Rod once. I was never sure if it was because he was ignoring me, or if it was because he only wanted to speak to Parfait. Regardless, I hope Rod and his family are okay. I would never wish this treatment upon anyone, not even to ones I hated. As we walk, I glance up at Chevalier, whose head is tilted skyward. I catch the glimmer of lights in his eyes and smile. Even for just a moment, I can forget about everything when I am beside him. He has a way of taking the weight off my shoulders. But as the crown princess, I cannot let others carry my burden for me. I must find ways to protect the others, even if it means putting myself in danger or harming someone in order to protect someone else. That kind of raises eyebrows with me, because our mother supposedly killed a human and we still don't know the details of that, but I wonder if she did it to protect Evillan. What do you think is the easiest and fastest way to kill someone? Chevalier's body goes rigid beside me. He stops to stare at me, wide-eyed. I'm just asking just in case I'm ever in danger. I've never fought anyone before. I can retaliate, but I do not know how to actually harm anyone. To kill someone is to end a life. It is stealing away a life that others might love. You bear the burden of that death for the rest of your life. Pull myself away from him. But Mithras is not an innocent man. Would you rather he killed the royal family instead? No, it's not that, Princess. I know he must be stopped at any cost. It's just, I would never want you to have to kill someone. How would you know what it was like to kill someone? You've only ever helped people, not hurt them. You saw the soldiers in the clinic today. You saw how close some of them were to death. Did you see the hollow look in their eyes? I have seen that look many times. It is the look of a man who clings desperately to life. Every life is precious. And a life is still a life, whether it is vile or not. It is still a responsibility you have to bear. I know how valuable and fragile lives are here because I have helped so many people. We stand quiet for a few moments, facing each other. I know I'm not at odds with Chevalier. He speaks the truth, but I also know that I speak my own version of the truth too. The world is a place where only the strong survive. People are kind, but they will take advantage of those who are too caring. Bria told me that Chevalier was so selfish he became selfish. She told me that he had never had anything because he gave everything to others. His kindness has hurt others, and I fear that it is likely a chance to hurt him as well. What if his reluctance to hurt anyone causes him to be the one that is injured? Chevalier suddenly breaks the silence. Most people think that the easiest way to kill a person is to stab them through the heart. Those people would be wrong. He puts a hand over his heart and stares dismally down at the ground. He removes his hand briefly, but only to reach for mine. Ooh. He takes my hand and settles it on his chest, slightly to the left. I can hear the beating of his heart beneath my palm. It is soft and gentle. What can you feel besides the beating of my heart? The ribs? Yes, in order to stab the heart, you'd have to get through the ribs. That's why most of the soldiers in there who got stabbed in the chest are still alive. If you want to kill someone quickly, you have to stab somewhere where it would be difficult to stem the blood from a wound. Do you have anywhere where that might be? Personally, I was thinking stabbing them in the gut, but I'm gonna go with the abdomen, because I think that's probably harder to staunch the bleeding. There are many organs in the abdomen, right? And there are no ribs blocking the way. A good guess, but his eyebrows furrow. A person can still survive with that kind of wound. Alright, I hear you. Let's go back to that. The neck. The skin on the neck is thinner, and you have lots of blood flow underneath the skin going right to your head. It would most likely be easier to slice or pierce something more vulnerable in the neck without running into as much resistance. Chevalier raises an eyebrow. Did you happen to pick that up around the clinic? No, I simply guessed. Then you have a bright mind, princess. There's our good girl points. There we go. Chevalier moves my hand to the side of his neck. My fingers curl slightly when I feel his heartbeat reverberate beneath my fingers. This part is where you can find the jugular vein and the carotid artery. He runs my fingers down the length of it, and I shudder. A mischievous smile brightens his face. Not only does cutting at the neck stop blood from going to the head, but it also makes it spurt. If both the vein and the artery are cut, it only takes a minute to bleed out to death. Thus, one of the best ways to kill a person will be through the neck. Why are you telling me all this now? I was just enlightening a new pupil with an anatomy lesson. You asked me a question, and I responded as a teacher. Chevalier's fingers loosened on my hand, and I grab his hand tighter in response. Princess, I don't want you to have to bear the burden of a murder. I promise that I'll protect you, so you don't have to defend yourself with violence. I can't use a sword or magic, and I don't know how to fight, but I will always be there to protect you. I may not have an abundance of muscles beneath these sleeves, but I am a doctor. No one knows the body better than I, so though it might not be heroic, I know how to hurt a person. His sincere expression, though pained, tells me that he is telling the truth. I do not want Chevalier to hurt a person either. It would destroy everything he has worked towards as a doctor. He has seen so much suffering, and yet always seems untouched by it. I will do anything I can to protect his positivity. The march-in was quiet when we returned. Everyone had already disappeared into their rooms, and so I went straight to mine. I also forced Chevalier to go back to his. He has been on his feet all day, and he needs the rest. I plopped down on my bed as soon as we returned home. I glanced briefly to the side where Chevalier's bouquet is in the vase Parfait had given to me. Who is it? Parfait. Come in. You've returned. Parfait looks paler than normal. I realized with a start that Chevalier did not tend to her at all today. Don't look at me like that. I'm fine. How are the soldiers at the clinic? Not good. Many of them have been gravely wounded. Some say they remembered magic. Others say they do not remember anything at all. A shadow falls over Parfait's expression as she sighs. So the circumstances are dire than we thought. It is a good thing Chevalier was there to lend a helping hand. Did you manage to come up with a plan? It's proving more difficult than we anticipated. Delora and I are willing to put ourselves in danger. Waltz, too, because he can use magic to a certain extent. The knights in Karma have their blades. But Chevalier, I do not want to involve him in this. Because you're worried about him. Of course I am. You've grown, princess. You remind me of a younger Hildur. Back then, Hildur was also calm and resilient. One moment, she could be smiling ear to ear. The next, she could be strict and unmovable as the coldest ice. The two of us were like sisters. We did so much together. We learned together, explored the kingdom together. I can say with all certainty that we were the best of friends. And then the fairy tales happened. When Hildur killed the first human, she was corrupted. Her darkness swallowed her whole. I do not remember a time before Mother was corrupted, and so I cannot imagine the woman Parfait describes. I know the old Hildur would have wanted to show you the beauty in things, princess. She would not want you to suffer. I'm sorry you became so embroiled in things. It was inevitable. If Delora hadn't cursed me, then I would still be in the palace, and I would be just as helpless as everyone else. So while I'm out here, I have the responsibility to help everyone. I touched the incomplete glass slipper at my neck. I still haven't even done 3 good deeds. Don't look so sad. You will complete your 3 good deeds, and things will go back to normal. And of course, you still have friends here when you return. And come your 18th birthday, Delora and I will teach you about magic. Waltz is eager to help too. But for now, our top priority is the plan. Rest easy, princess. Things will work out. It's hard to believe that this problem could be so easily solved, but I will try to believe. When Parfait leaves, I'm left to my own thoughts. I hope everyone at the palace is okay and that they can hold on until we come up with our plan, but I feel like we're already running out of time. That's true. Every moment counts. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break before we finish this up. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch your remotes. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. See, quick and easy. Let's get back into this last chapter and finish this up. Days go by and I find myself assisting Chevalier at times. Other times I remain at the march-in to help conceptualize the plan. None of our plans have actually shown any promise yet, but with all our minds put together, we should be able to come up with something. A week later, I find myself standing outside of the clinic door, waiting for Chevalier. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, Princess. You can drop the title, you know. Evillan, but you are a princess in my eyes. Yes, but you do not need to address me by title. Just my name is fine. Chevalier reaches out to take my hand, then immediately pulls his hand back, eyes wide. Ah, I forgot it. Forgot what? The medicine that I needed for Parfait. Give me a moment, Evillan. Chevalier plants a quick kiss on my forehead before running inside. I stare at the stars as I wait. I turn but see no one walking around the plaza. I inch closer towards the door of the clinic to take another look around. Boo! Ah! Oh, it's that guy. I suddenly see the silhouette of a man. He takes a few more steps towards me and then stops in front of me. It's that guy. Yeah! Mysterious man. I recognize him immediately. His appearance left quite an impression on me the last time. Out at night by yourself? Certainly you know that wolves prowl these streets at night. What do you want? I take a step back and press myself to the door. I reach for the door handle, but the man reaches out a hand to grab my wrist, holding it at the door. I'd say my answer to that question is complicated, Princess. He knows I'm the princess. By the expression on your face, I must have hit the nail right on the head, eh? You are the princess. How do you know who I am? Because he's a witch. He's a witch! This is part of the mystery, isn't it? I attempt to wrestle my wrist out of his fingers. Come with me quietly and you won't get hurt. No, we're gonna scream for help. I refuse to go anywhere with him. I open my mouth to scream, but before I can even breathe, the man's hand flies to my mouth. You're a disobedient one, aren't you? I struggle against his grasp. It doesn't take long for the grin to fall from his face. It is replaced with a look that lacks any amusement. I enjoy seeing you struggle, but I'm afraid we've been out here for too long. I bang my shoulder against the door and a resounding creak follows my attempt. Ooh, yes. Good girl points. We're fighting back. No more Mr. Nice Guy. The man opens a small vial right in front of my face. Something sweet wafts in the air, and suddenly I feel myself falling into darkness as I collapse. Oh, goodness. Oh, this is our room. Where am I? I glance around me. My room. I look around cautiously, checking to see if anything in my room is different. The last time I was here was before I was cursed. How is it that this room is the same? Sleeping Beauty has awoken. I moved to stand up before realizing that my legs are numb. Shame to see you so easily tamed, Princess, and here I thought you would be fun. I glance up to look at the man who is now standing at my bedside. How do you know who I am? Are you a witch? A witch? Me? Ha! He bursts into laughter. I would rip the witches to shreds if I could. Oh, so you're not a witch? If he could, then you are cursed? The man simply smirks at me but says nothing in response. He brushes the words aside with a gesture of his hand. Are you working for Mithros? Probably. I glare at his vague answer. My name is Varg, and I've been assigned to be your personal knight. I already have a personal knight. Oh, you mean Fritz? I got rid of him. Oh my god, not Fritz. No, he's so good. No playing with Queen's daughter, Varg. Uh-oh, there's Mithros. Oh, he's more handsome than I thought he'd be. Alcaster was kind of like older, but this guy's not. Mithros enters the room. Now he stands in the doorway, eyeing the both of us with a smile that is so oddly reminiscent of his usual one that makes me sick. Mithros. Princess, you look more and more like your mother every day. Why, the scowl on your face is almost a perfect reflection. He moves to stand in front of me. At the same time, Varg begins to take slow and careful footsteps at the edge of my room. What have you done with everyone? Inconsequential or consequential? What? Mithros clicks his tongue impatiently. Inconsequential or consequential people? I narrow my eyes at him. I have no idea who defines as inconsequential or consequential. Where are the king and the rest of my family? Where's Fritz? Were you the one who killed Sir Alcaster? Ah, inconsequential and consequential then. To start, your knight is gone, Princess. I've replaced him with the Varg here. And Alcaster, well, he had a common cause at first. We both wanted the crown. Gasp! Sir Alcaster was also betraying the king? Yeah, we saw that last route. But Alcaster was a brute. He wanted to needlessly kill the royal family and steal the crown for himself. At first I thought he was calm and calculating. But it turns out he was just a power-hungry fool. Though I did want to take the crown, I wanted to avoid the bloodshed of certain important people. Mithros smiles at me, and it is a look that makes my blood run cold. So I disposed of him and the rest of his knights. Oh, but don't worry, Princess. I assure you that your family is resting in their rooms, just like you are resting in yours. What? Do not worry, you will see them shortly for dinner. I have my doubts about Mithros' story, but if what he said was true, then Sir Alcaster wanted to kill the royal family, and Mithros saved them. But then he decimated the knights and took the royal family hostage? Why would he do such a thing? They're prisoners then. Prisoners in their own home? Nonsense. We're all just awaiting the Queen's return together. The Queen? Slowly I feel pieces beginning to fit together. The Queen, he cannot be talking about Ophelia. Delora, do you think the witches are capable of bringing back the dead? Oof. That's a memory. Mother is dead. Is she really? Ooh. You can bring Mother back from the dead? We can, Princess. We? The Queen has been resting for a long time, waiting for you to gain your powers so that you can help her escape her prison. You're not making any sense. I struggle to keep my words from faltering. How is Mother alive? And what does he mean by a prison? The dark crystal is the Queen's prison. It is linked to the Queen's power. Though others presumed she was dead, the Queen sealed the last of her powers inside the crystal. All she requires is your power, Princess. My power? When you become the next bearer, you will have the ability to release the Queen from her prison. My birthday is in a week. That is when I'm meant to take on the responsibilities of becoming the bearer, though Parfait and Delora never went into more detail beyond that. You'll finally get to see your mother again, Princess. I still cannot quite take in everything he has just said. However, if Mithras had approached me before the curse, I would have helped Mother in a heartbeat. But if it was Mother who was the last Dark Crystal Bearer and the one who brought darkness to Angio, I once believed that Mother was the only person to ever love me. Now I know that I was wrong, that she shut me out from a world that I should have known. But still, even now, I wish she was here. I take a deep breath. But I cannot afford to be selfish. I cannot put anyone else in danger. I will not help you. You don't have a choice, Princess. Oh, look at that little smirk on his face. I don't like it. I have set the stage for my Queen's return. All that's left is to free her from her cage. We will speak more of this at the dining table. Mithras leaves the room, leaving me briefly with Varg. Varg smiles at me beneath his mask, then brings his index finger to the temple of his head and loops it. What? It's in the temple of his head and loop. Oh, like he's crazy. Okay. So he's saying that Mithras is crazy. He mouths the word crazy. You said you would tear witches apart, so why do you serve Mithras? A good question. You're not going to answer me. How perceptive of you, Princess. He smirks at me before following Mithras out the door. I am once again left by myself in the room. Everything Mithras just told me swirls through my mind. My mother, alive, and he killed everybody only to take the crown and keep it for her. A shudder runs through my body. She cannot return. I spend the next hour looking around my room for things that might aid my escape. I know where everyone else's rooms are too, but I have no idea how heavily guarded they are, and I doubt I could help them. I must return to the march-in. I test the window, but it is locked, probably with magic. I search my shelves. The dolls that used to comfort me can do nothing for me now. Last I checked my drawers, but though there are many things in them, there is nothing that looks like it could help me escape. As I'm searching, I come across a box, and I pause to pick it up. Ooh. Okay. Box? I remember this. It was given to me by Mother with strict instructions not to open it and always keep the key hidden. I search the drawer again for the key. The moment I begin to set the box down, I see a small golden key at the bottom of the drawer. I pick it up and about to open the box when I stop. This is hardly a priority right now. I set the key down next to the box. I should be searching for a way to escape. No, that might have something to do with our powers or something. I turn to see Varg's smiling face at the door. You look like a criminal who's just been caught doing something naughty, says the criminal himself. Maybe we're meant for each other. Oh goodness, Varg, don't even start. I narrow my eyes as he approaches. Behind his back, I can make out the open door. Don't even think about it. You don't want me to pounce on you in the hallways, do you? That would be unpleasant. Varg grabs my wrist. I attempt to struggle free, but he holds tight to me. I will be your escort to dinner tonight. I keep my head held high as Varg escorts me from the room. On the way to the dining hall, I glimpse the rest of the palace. It is mostly empty, save for a few soldiers. The soldiers that do stand there have a glazed look in their eyes and look right through me. Puppets. A spell cast by Mithras? Varg does not answer me as he pulls me through the hallway. Soon I find myself in the dining hall. The guards usually standing by the walls are gone. Now there is only the royal family, and they seem to be unharmed. You? Oof! I can see recognition in the king's eyes. My heart flutters as he stands, or tries to. He manages to rise, but only just barely. I notice that his feet stay firmly planted where they are. Everyone's bodies look exceptionally stiff. Is this some kind of spell? You were the girl that was outside my palace months ago. Hey, Marie and Chris. Nice to see ya. We're finishing up this chapter. We're gonna be almost done, so sorry you made it to the end of it, but if you're looking for more content, you can go to my linktr.ee/princessevillan and check out the VODs channel where you can see all of my playthroughs, so you can get caught up on what we're doing. You're the girl that was outside my palace months ago. Yes, we are. Mithras, what is the meaning of this? I notice that the king is not at the head of the table, as usual. Everyone sits on the table's sides, except for Mithras, who's far at the end. The king's seat, however, is clear. I simply brought back the crown princess. You should be thanking me, Gennaro. I have reunited you with your daughter. My daughter? The king raises an eyebrow, clearly skeptical. I can see in his eyes that he is loath to trust anything Mithras has to say. The king slumps in his chair as Varg leads me to a seat just beside Rod. I notice Emmeline sitting just to Rod's side. She forces a smile onto her face, but I can see tears gathering in her eyes. Allow me to offer a more formal introduction of our guest, even though you all know her. Her name is Evillan Riella Britton, and she is the crown princess of Angiel. And your blood daughter, Gennaro. Oof. Doesn't even remember, though, because of the curse. The king looks at me again. This time there is more uncertainty in his gaze. Prince Rod will tell you, won't he? Rod? Rod'll know because he's cursed too. Rod looks at me, his gaze quiet but expectant. I turn to the king and the rest of my family. Who you're gonna save again. This might be our last choice. It's nice to meet you. Are we the crown princess, or it's nice to meet you? I think it's just nice to meet you. We're gonna try to play this off as we're not the princess, maybe. There's no point in trying to convince the king of my birthright here and now. It would only confuse him more, and now is not the time or place. I glance at Mithras, who is smiling at me expectantly. Besides, Mithras must have reason for insisting on my birthright right now. Most likely he just means to confuse the king more. If that's the case, I will not play into such a petty scheme. Oh, that's fine, Murray. No worries about that. Just sending quick hellos and saying hi and just wanted to chat. Sorry I've been gone lately on Discord. I've been paying attention to life, you know. My name is Evillan. Thank you for your kindness that one time. Ugh. Yeah, Rod looks shocked. I scowl on him before turning to look at Mithras. Mithras' smile has twisted into a frown. I feel proud in seeing him caught off guard. Yeah! Good girl points. Evillan, what are you doing here? Gennaro, she's undoubtedly your daughter. That is why she's in the room that you've been taking care of. What? The king's eyes widen. He looks at a loss for words. Princess, the king has been keeping your room clean and tidy for the sake of nostalgia, and he has no idea why. Magic works in interesting ways, doesn't it? I was wondering why my room was unchanged, but could it be that the king remembers me somehow? I look up at him, but he's already glanced away from me, his expression a complicated twist of confusion and helplessness. It seems that even the king does not fully understand. I turn to Mithras. It can work in both good and bad ways. Ah yes, the fairy tale curse is terrible, isn't it? I catch Varg's eyes from the side of the room. He glances away from me, and I follow his gaze to the corners of the room. I had noticed them before, but now I see cloaked figures hiding in the shadows. Witches. They must be the ones holding everyone in place if they try to escape. But not all magic is terrible, like the magic we will use to revive the queen. You're insane. Hilda is mad. You have no right to refer to her by name. Uh-oh. A sudden chill envelops the room. I can feel actual icicles on the table. I pull my hands away. Now, we are going to eat dinner, and we are going to enjoy it. And everyone will be just like this until the queen returns. Rod glares across the table at Mithras. So if he's trying to resurrect the queen, why is he keeping Ophelia and her kids around? Because once the queen comes back, there's going to be no need for Ophelia anymore. Why? Why would we not enjoy dinners together? That's not what I meant. Why would you go through this charade day after day? I stare across the table at Mithras, glaring. I already told you before I had to clear this place of traitors. Alcaster planned on stealing the crown, and I stole it back. But because of the time of the queen's revival is so close, I have decided to keep the crown with me until I can return it to its appropriate owner. Hilda is... Queen Hilda is the true owner of the crown. I thought it best that we all wait out her arrival together. But know this, when my queen demands it, I will kill all of you. I simply refuse to act without her orders. This time, guards come into the room with food. They set it before us, and we are forced to eat beneath Mithras' watchful gaze. Though I try to spot an opening in the dining hall, I can find no way out. This really is prison. 2 days pass. I've been searching for ways out and trying to ease more answers out of Varg or Mithros. Neither of them is very forthcoming. Both enjoy speaking in riddles. Varg especially is an enigma. Whenever I try to ask him about Fritz, he smirks at me and remains silent. I wonder if Varg is Fritz? That would be interesting. Because Fritz remembers us. From the last route that we did, Fritz remembers us and he was trying to tell everybody on the castle about us, but nobody was listening. So I assumed that he was, like, cursed as well. What, not going to try to ask me any questions tonight? I'm not going to get any answers from Varg, and it is almost my birthday. I need to find a way out of here. Open the box! Open the box! I'm disappointed. You're the only fun I have in here, princess. Maybe if I'm quiet, he'll leave me alone. If you're just going to be quiet and sulk, I guess I should be going. Remember, don't try anything funny. There are knights just outside your door. Varg bows mockingly. He leans down to pat me on the head before he turns and leaves. Our birthday is coming up. I cannot give up. I once again begin my search through the room. Time is running out, and there is nothing I can do besides search for a way out. But I know that if I leave the room, the knights will catch me immediately. If I had a weapon, I might stand a chance. I put my fingers to my neck and remember what Chevalier told me about it. Sleep. Oh. Someone's attacking. The sound comes from outside my door. It's a woman's voice. The door opens suddenly. Chevalier and Delora are both in my room. Princess! I'm startled to see Chevalier standing before me, his eyebrows drawn over his eyes with great worry, and beside him stands Delora with her arms crossed. Well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes? We're here to stage a daring rescue. I turn to Chevalier and wrap my arms around him. He puts a hand on the small of my back and smiles down at me. Oh, she was telling the guards to sleep. Okay, I thought she was telling us to sleep. And I was like, what? Okay, this makes more sense. We're going to get you out of here, princess. How did you both get in here? With the power of magic. Dramatic, even at a time like this. The two exchange a look before looking at me seriously. Parfait, Waltz, the knights, and Karma are all here. We thought we'd just be fighting witches, though. We weren't expecting the knights. No matter what we said, we couldn't get through them. They're under a spell. Mithros. He wants to release Mother. Both of them looked at me with confusion. What? Mother is still alive, just inside the dark crystal. Mithros wants to bring her back. That is impossible. The queen is still alive? Chevalier looks worried while Dolores' expression is more rigid and resolute. We cannot let that happen. That's what I've been saying. I don't know how the queen would be alive in the first place, but... well, we'll worry about that later. Right, we have time later to discuss the specifics of everything, but right now we need to get out of here. Right, everyone is keeping the guards and witches busy for you, princess. I'll distract Mithros. Chevalier, I'm counting on you to get the princess to safety. That's why I'm here. Princess, can you guide me to the palace? I cannot just leave everyone here. Don't worry, Garland is seeing to saving your family. No, I cannot just leave everyone in the Marchand here to do things for me. Evillan, we cannot afford to lose you. I told you I would do anything to protect you, and I will. The sooner you're safe, the sooner we'll have the advantage. You are the legitimate heir to the throne and the next Dark Crystal Bearer. You cannot let yourself remain in Mithros' hands. The situation is indeed most dire, so for now we must hurry. I nod my head feebly. Without another word, the three of us head towards the door. Delora exits first and stops immediately. I almost run into her. I glance at the doorway and see Varg waiting just outside, holding a blade across Delora's neck. Uh-oh. Magic! Delora holds up her hand and deflects the sword as it slides harmlessly past her neck. Varg slides away, still holding out his sword. His usual smirk is half-hearted at best. Get out of our way. You're awfully demanding, aren't you? Pretty please? No can do, my lady. Shame. Looks like I'll have to destroy that pretty mask of yours along with everything else underneath. Get it, Delora. Smack him good. Delora holds up her hand and summons a wall of electric orbs. With the flick of her wrist, she sends them rushing towards Varg, who dodges with surprising speed. Varg's movements appear sluggish, but I have seen his fast reflexes. He's playing with Delora, even though I do not think he has the advantage. He drops his sword, and for a few moments, I feel Delora has the advantage. Then suddenly he raises the cane he usually holds at his side and taps it on the ground. A burst of smoke escapes from the bottom of it, shrouding the rim. An enchanted cane. You're not the only one with tricks up your sleeve. Delora! Chevalier, get her out of here. Let's go, princess. Chevalier takes my hand in his and begins to lead me away. I turn to glance back at Delora and Varg, and realize that while Delora is completely on the offensive, Varg does nothing but dodge. It's as if he's trying to buy time for something. I banish the thought from my head as Chevalier pulls me down the hall. How rude. Haven't you heard of chivalry? Oh my gosh, Karma. I spot Karma still in his dress, holding a sword out at the man in front of him. When the man lunges, Karma dodges back and grunts as his back comes to the wall. I suppose chivalry is dead, then. He steps off to the side as the possessed knight attacks him with his blade. The sword catches his dress, but does not hinder him from stepping forward and aiming a jab at the soldier beneath the knight's armor. The knight keels, but the sword does not fall from his hand. Karma looks up at us sharply. What are you doing, just standing there? Move! It takes me a moment to realize that just as I was frozen, so too was Chevalier. His face is pale as he grabs my hand again, and once again starts rushing me down the other end of the hall. Chevalier's steps are wider than mine, and I have to struggle to keep up. But the further we go down the hallway, the more apparent it becomes there are too many obstacles in the way. We pass Journey and Garland as we move too, and they manage to clear a path for us. These knights. Will they not stop moving until Mithros is defeated? I hope the king and everyone else is safe. As we pass Journey and Garland, I tell them where the royal family is, but I have no way of knowing if the words reach their ears amidst all the sound. Ugh. Chevalier? So the stab wounds in the armor that I saw earlier were from the knights themselves, but why would they battle each other? What? The punctures in the armor that we saw at the clinic, stab wounds in the gut and at the arms. Chevalier's eyes are so distant, it's as if he's looking right through me. We need to keep moving. I take his hand and lean him forward. I do not know what he's talking about, but we can talk about this later. Right now we have to escape. We're closer to the palace entrance when we see them. A group of knights standing in two lines on both sides of the hall, facing each other. At the far end of the hallway stands a gaggle of witches, and between them, Mithros. Good evening. Did you enjoy your stroll around the palace? Chevalier immediately moves to stand in front of me. The cloudiness is gone from his eyes. What leaves his mouth is not a demand, but a question. How could you do this? How? It was quite easy, actually. You know what I mean. Why would you make the knights fight one another? What a foolish question. Obviously, because they are inconsequential. Oof. That's not gonna sit with Chevalier, because he thinks that all life is precious. On a stage, some pawns exist as easily replaceable extras. I'm interested in keeping only the actors. In the grand scheme of things, the extras aren't needed. In fact, I can make them do whatever I need in order to get the best outcome. He snaps his fingers and the knights raise their swords. I tense, thinking that the knights are going to turn to us, but they never do. Here is an interlude for you to enjoy. Oof! The knights are attacking each other? The sound of metal ringing against metal fills the air. The knight swords arch, dive, and stab. Mithros watches from behind them, and the sly smile never leaving his lips. Will I stream tomorrow? I might stream tomorrow. I'm thinking of playing Okami tomorrow. Be another couple hours of stream. The two of us can only stand there, stunned into silence. It isn't long before we can see red. Oh goodness. The smell of blood begins to linger in the air as swords cut through flesh. Abruptly, I snap to my senses. I attempt to move forward, but Chevalier remains firmly grounded. It's probably good. Chevalier. I heard many things about the doctor working at the clinics. I heard that he was a volunteer who had assisted in helping the injured during the Great War. I also heard that, until just recently, he had been cursed. I knew immediately upon seeing you that you were that volunteer. I suppose it is unavoidable that you and the princess know each other, but to think you would be so close. Chevalier just stares blankly ahead. He almost looks like he's under a spell. His eyes are glazed. I continue to call his name. His eyes follow the sword movements of the knights, and he does not even spare me a glance. Have I unraveled the doctor? Oh no. Chapter 10, Not Like Mother. Oh goodness. Okay, last chapter it seems. Chevalier, don't listen to him. Ah, just look at all these men you cannot save. All these men dying right before your eyes. Chevalier, we have to get away from here. How many people have you really saved? In the grand scheme of things, you have no talent. That is why you sought help from a witch. Ooh, now he's using magic. Mithras' voice is oddly calm, and I can feel some sort of presence in the air that is different from normal. A knight plunges his sword through another's gut, causing him to lose his sword. The sword skitters across the floor, gleaming underneath the moonlight. I look desperately at Chevalier and realize that the magic is already working its way into him. He does not see anyone except for Mithras, who is still smiling at him from behind all the knights. I glance at the sword, remembering what Chevalier taught me. Mithras is unguarded right now, but I have better judgment than that, and I have told Chevalier that I was going to steer clear of the burden of taking someone's life. I have a promise to keep. I gazed up at Chevalier and realized that this was how he looked every time he regained a memory, like he was stuck in his own mind. There's only one thing I can think of to get him out of this trance. I clenched my hand into a fist, and I punched Chevalier in the face. Nice. Ow! God, it's my face. Impossible. Chevalier's eyes clear, and then he looks at me. I can tell he's distraught, but his eyes are seeing the present. Sorry, I thought I lost you. I suppose I needed that, didn't I? Chevalier smiled sheepishly. It is fleeting and gone by the time we both turn to Mithras again. Chevalier looks right past the still fighting knights. If this bothers Chevalier, which it must, he hides it beneath a neutral expression. How did you break my spell? You cannot even use any magic. I just punched him in the face. That's all I did. She didn't break it with magic. She broke it with the power of love. Oh, goodness. I stare at him skeptically. We both know that is not true, and I know Chevalier well enough to know that he does not mean that. But Mithras looks furious. Love? Ha! As if some fairy tale love could save you from this predicament. Princess, you're a witch. We feed off negativity, off of chaos and loathing. Love serves us no power. Life is about balance. Evillan taught me that. And though I might not be able to uphold a balance of negatives and positives myself, I'm at least going to try. You could try to do the same. Maybe look beyond your depressing life and start reaching for something that gives you happiness. Something that won't plummet you back into the same darkness. Mithras snaps his fingers and all the knights freeze. Then they turn to us, swords raised. I do not need to be lectured by some lovesick fool. By all means, cling to your love. I will show you how fragile it is. Witches do not need love. Mithras holds out his hands and the knights begin their steady, deadly march towards us. Chevalier takes my hand and pulls me back, but I see my opening in the narrative. Mithras enjoys inflicting pain with his words, and I can do the same. If you do not need love, if you do not need affection, then why are you doing all of this for Mother? I am not. You're doing it to be recognized. Why? Every student wants to impress their teacher. His words are calm, but there's a desperation in them. Mother was Mithras' teacher. I had thought he was just reviving her as another witch, but... Do you know Mithras? Yeah, that's right. He said that they were both students under the same master. Waltz, are you a witch? Yeah. Waltz was Mother's student? No, I cannot think about that now, but I can use this to my advantage. So we learn little things like through each arc. Like this time we learned that Waltz was a student of Hildur, and that Mithras was also a student of Hildur. We didn't learn that in the last arc. So there is like a benefit of going through all the different arcs. You get a clearer picture of what's happening. No, I cannot think about that now, but I can use this to my advantage. I do not remember Mother's students in the least, but one of them turned out right. The other did not. I can see the bitterness in you. It is the same bitterness I held, only yours goes deeper. You will not sway me with your foolish words. The knights begin to rush us. Their run is more a pathetic shuffle given the harmed state they are in, but this does not slow them down. We're going to run, but... Trust me, Princess, I will protect you no matter what happens. He grabs my hand and we wait. I can see Chevalier's eyes darting around as he searches for an opening. I can feel the pulse of his quickened heartbeat through his hand, and I know he is panicking. Ooh. Is that parfait? Suddenly there's a massive luminescent gold wall in front of us. The knights stumble right into it, their swords hitting the bright barrier. It is Parfait. Are you two okay? Parfait rushes to stand in front of us. Mithras' expression is cold, angry glare. He measures the situation with critical eyes, and then he turns away and begins to dart down the hall. Ugh. Parfait collapses to one knee, arms still outstretched to maintain the barrier. Delora appears. She is flustered and bleeding on one arm, but she still stands straight. There we go. Delora will help you out. Delora holds up her hand and summons fire. Put down the shield, Parfait. I have this. Parfait releases the shield and the magic projectiles shoot out at the knights. The two edge the knights back through the hallway, but I can see Parfait growing weaker and weaker by the moment. Parfait takes a deep, shuddering breath as she tries to stand. When she falls yet again, Chevalier takes a step forward and looks at her urgently. Lady Parfait! I'm fine, don't fuss. Her breathing is labored, but she still manages to smile. I fought in the Great War. This is nothing. She looks at me and Chevalier. You two need to leave. But you're... Fine, I just need to gather my energy. Go on, Delora, help out. A spell from Delora sends the knight sprawling to the ground after she creates a heavy downpour of rain that quickly turns into ice. You two keep going. The entrance is clear. I notice the witches that have been standing by Mithras approaches now. Delora stands at the ready. I can tell that she's hiding a great amount of stress behind her smirk. Parfait slowly gets to her feet. We fight together, Delora. There's no one I'd rather have fighting by my side, Fate. Come on, Princess, while we still have an opening. We head around the side. Parfait erects a shield to protect us from any magic that comes our way, and Delora summons a whirlwind as a distraction. Ow! My foot is grazed by fire magic, causing me to stumble, but I force myself into a limping sprint regardless. This is nothing. At the entrance, I pause in the middle of the room. The main entrance hall is eerily silent, and then I see Mithras edging his way into the king's throne room. He is holding tight to Evillan. He notices me watching and smiles. Then he disappears into the throne room. We have to follow him. We do have to go save Evillan. Princess. He has Evillan. Chevalier's posture and expression are indecisive, but mine are not. I know Mithras is baiting me, but I cannot leave her alone. My gaze moves around the hallway as I search for other knights. The place is empty, but it is not long before we hear footsteps. I tense at the sound, and Chevalier holds tightly to my hand. Then suddenly, as the figures draw near, I recognize him, even if he seems a completely different, older person. Oh, it's Waltz! Oh, he's an adult now. That's strange. I finally found you. Waltz? You broke your curse, but how? Chevalier stares at him in awe. I now dub you Waltz the Big. This is not the time. Waltz the Big. Oh goodness. There never was Waltz the Small. Waltz shakes his head. And I broke my curse unexpectedly. I found the item I needed while I was searching around. But I can explain more later. For now, we have to go after Mithras. Do you know where he is? He's in the throne room. Mithras stands in the middle of the empty throne room, holding Evillan to him. He has his hands around her neck. No sudden moves, you three, or this girl dies. And I do know how much death bothers you. With a start, I realize he's talking to Waltz. All three of us are frozen. Myth. Traitor. Why can't you see that Hilda wasn't trying to teach us? She was trying to corrupt us. Silence, traitor. You betrayed her. During the war, you betrayed our own teacher. Betrayed? Hilda was corrupted. She cannot be saved. How dare you use her name? Mithras' fingers tighten on Evillan's throat. I can see the tears running down her face. Her sobbing is quiet, but it still reaches my ears in the silent room. Varg. Oh, here's Varg. Varg appears from the darkness as he did before. He smiles at all of us from behind Mithras, eyes glinting mischievously. You didn't finish the job. You were awfully vague when you told me you'd be taking care of them. When you told me to take care of them. You know, most people would assume that meant entertaining them and offering them refreshments. Obey me. Yeah, I think he's not going to. Varg turns to us. He draws the sword he used earlier, his smile fading. I think I see something like pain in his eyes, but then I think it might be my imagination. He looks stoic as he moves towards us. When Waltz moves, Mithras' hands tighten over Evillan's neck, and she cries out. Chevalier is watching everything quietly. The concern in his eyes is muted by the urgency. I follow his gaze around the room, wondering what he's searching for. Myth, is it? You were injured during the Great War. I tended to you once. Stabbed in the stomach. You needed stitches for it. I feel Mithras' confusion before I see it. Just for a few moments, though, his eyes His gaze is centered on Chevalier, eyes probing him for information. No one came for you. Your teacher must have thought you were too weak, that you would die. Oof! Mithras' hand fly away from Emmeline's neck as he lunges towards Chevalier with a snarl, his expression mad. The room breaks out into chaos then. I feel the rise of magic beside me as Waltz readies the spell, the tension in Chevalier's body as he prepares to shield me, and lastly I see Varg zip across the room. Everything goes white. When I look up, I see Walt standing in front of me with a shield. Mithras' hand lies flat against the shield, and I can feel the heat of his magic. Varg lies on the ground beside his fallen sword, unconscious from the impact of magic. Even Chevalier is on his knees. I rush toward the sword. At the same moment, Waltz pushes Mithras back onto the ground. Then, sword in hand, I stand above Mithras and aim it at his neck. The blade touches his skin without sinking into it. Emmeline is hiding behind the throne, staring out at the scene with a shock in her tear-stained face. Will you kill me? Mithras' smile is a mere shadow of itself. You saw the soldiers in the clinic today. You saw how some of them were close to death. Did you see the hollow look in their eyes? I've seen that look many times. It is the look of a man who clings desperately to life. Every life is precious, and a life is still a life, whether it's vile or not. It is still a responsibility you have to bear. I know how valuable lives are because I've helped so many people. That desperation in Mithras' eyes now, a man that clings to life. It would be so easy to slice his throat. I've seen so much bloodshed on this night, and it was all caused by Mithras. If I kill him, I can stop all of it. But that would make me no better than Mother. I drop the sword. Mithras actually stops to stare at me in shock. I am not like Mother. I will not kill you for revenge. No sooner have I said the words that I feel a sudden heat at my chest. My hands instinctively reach up to grab the necklace around my neck, and then there's a bright light. Hey, our next good deed! Our final one! When the light clears, a new source of light catches my eyes. Glass slippers. I stop to stare down at my feet, which are in glass slippers that shine so brightly they sparkle even in the dim light. But I have no time to admire the shoes or the weight that has fallen off my shoulders. I barely recognize the fairy tale curse. I barely recognize that the fairy tale curse has been broken. Emmeline rises from behind her throne and screams. Evelyn, watch out! Mithras has grabbed the sword with his hand, turned it around, and is aiming it at my chest. It hits a barrier. Parfait stands beside me once more, her face devoid of any color. I do not see her rush in here. She takes a step forward as if to shield me. Out of my way. Mithras drags the sword back and plunges it against the shield. This time the blade is coated with darkness. It pierces the already flimsy shield. Oh no, is Parfait gonna die? And the blade goes through Parfait's heart. Oh no! Parfait! Parfait grabs the blade and narrows her eyes at Mithras. I'm sorry Hildur did not appreciate you. Something swells inside of me as I stare at Parfait. The sword is impaled in her, and I can see her eyes go glassy. I cannot speak. I cannot breathe. Waltz rushes forward with his magic and pins Mithras forcefully to the ground. He raises his hand, but it never comes down in time. The sword strikes past his shoulder, right at Mithras' neck. Who did it? Who did it? Who killed Mithras? Chevalier did. When I turn, it is Chevalier that is holding it. His body shakes as tears run down his cheeks. Mithras holds his neck as Chevalier holds up the blade and throws it behind him. Out of the corner of my eye, I catch movement that can only be Varg, but I do not care. Lady Parfait, do not move. We can take the sword out. We can... But I see a hopelessness in Chevalier's expression, and I know that whatever wound Parfait took was lethal. I can see it in his eyes. I can see it in Parfait's. There is no need to fuss. When Parfait falls, Waltz grabs her and puts his hand to the hilt of her sword. But puts the hand on the hilt of the sword. Chevalier crumples beside her. He stares at the blood staining her dress with sorrow. I start to cry. Evelyn, do not regret this. I am proud of you. The room is quiet, even with the newcomers that arrive. The knights and Karma watch the scene from the sidelines, all with grim looks on their faces. Last to arrive is Delora, who sits down beside Parfait with her lips pulled into an uptight frown. Her face is stern, but I can tell it is a mask. Parfait. That look doesn't suit you, Delora. I told you to stay back. Had I not been here in time, the princess would have... Her words fall apart as she begins to cough. Delora leans over her and shakes her head. I'm sorry I didn't come sooner. Everything is as it should be, Delora. Parfait cranes her neck up to look at me. Wipe away your tears, Evillan. What you did was a good deed. You spared a man's life. But life is not a fairy tale. Humans are good and bad. No, it isn't. But the fear of death makes a life even more valuable. Do not worry, Princess. I chose this. Parfait smiles. It is mystifying to see her smile when her body is slowly crumbling away in Waltz's grasp. Parfait's body is what gives out first. Her eyes go next. They remain focused on me, still smiling. Her body begins to glow as her body slowly fades away. Parfait! Parfait! Delora turns away. Even if she's not shedding any tears, it is clear that she is heartbroken. She closes her eyes and releases a shaky smile. Sweet dreams, my friend. I do not know how long we all stay in that room, mourning the loss of Parfait. Karma, Jurian, and Garland eventually spread out to search for any remaining danger. At some point, they returned with the king and the rest of the family. My reunion with my family is half-hearted. I do not know what to say to people that I hated only months ago. Despite the quiet, they all take me in with open arms. The king stays by my side long after the others have left. Karma and the knights return to the March End to tell the others the news. Waltz goes to search the palace for any remaining resistance. Only Dolores, Chevalier, the king, and I remain. Chevalier cries. I've never seen him cry before, but his heartbreak is my own. What happened was a nightmare, but it eventually ended. Last night, Varg escaped the throne room. No one saw where he disappeared to in all the chaos. I'm beginning to believe that his faint was a trick. Since the night had left everyone so tired, we were offered rooms in the palace. I came to my room with Chevalier, where the two of us attempted to comfort each other with words. Chevalier was especially shaken, being the one to kill Mithros. He was in tears for a long time. I'm pretty sure that I must have fallen asleep sometime when we were talking, but I'm lying in my bed underneath my covers, and though I think for a few moments that I might be a figment of my imagination, it is not. Words fail me after like 3 hours of talking. Chevalier is definitely lying right next to me, sleeping beneath those same covers. How did this happen? I put off the recollection of the previous day to stare at Chevalier's face. His glasses are off, and without them, his face seems strangely empty. He looks vulnerable, almost like a child, except his features are too handsome for that. What am I thinking? I slowly put my hand to his cheek and flinch when his eyebrows crease. Moments later, his eyes open. They are foggy this early in the morning. What is this? Have I been awoken by my princess? Usually it's the princess that wakes the prince. Oh, usually it's the prince that wakes the princess. I have been drinking water. It's just really dry where I am, so like water only helps somewhat. I will always wonder how he manages to keep smiling like this. Even when he is in pain, he forces a smile. But you are no prince, and I am not some damsel in distress. Chevalier closes his eyes again and sighs. There's only one way to break the spell of sleep. I flush as his lips curl into a mischievous smile. Still, his eyes do not open. I think about what happened last night. Parfait and Mithros' death, Varg's escape, everyone else's heartbreak. Before I have to relieve the burden, I can afford to lose myself in some happiness. I lean forward to kiss his smile. I break away from Chevalier, startled. Princess? How distressing. Waltz the Big ruins everything. I can't believe he's still calling him Waltz the Big. I quickly slip out of bed and Chevalier sits up and puts on his glasses with a yawn. Good morning, Princess, and his eyes widen when he sees Chevalier. Are you so tired that words have abandoned you, Waltz? No, I wanted to see if the princess was doing okay, if you were both alright, actually. He pauses to look at us, his eyebrows furrowed in thought. Though I can imagine just how tongue-tied you must be, you should speak if you have something to say. Waltz sighs. I didn't want to bring this up so soon, but it's been on my mind the whole night. It's just, you didn't have to kill Myth. That was my job. Your job? I doubt that. Besides, I didn't want to kill him. It was a reaction. The room goes silent for a few moments as Chevalier stares down at the floor. He told me before that lives are valuable. That is why I tried to save Mithros, but in the end, my sparing his life forced Chevalier to carry the burden of his death. He has already told me that it is not my fault. Parfait said that what I did was a good deed, but still, killing Mithros saved us more casualties. I hope I can convince Chevalier of that. Most likely he will wrestle with that guilt for a long time. I turned my attention back to Waltz, and willed the questions to the back of my mind for the time being. Waltz, there are questions I need to ask you. About how he broke his curse, about Mother being his teacher, about Mithros. There's so much to ask him, I do not even know where to start. We have plenty of time for explanations now, Princess. After your birthday, Delora and I will pick up your magical education, but for now, you should rest. I'll give you the full story of my apprenticeship and curse another day. I'm dying for it. I want to know what's happening with Waltz. He found something in the castle that broke his curse, and I'm wondering what it is. I really want to play Waltz's storyline, but it's locked to us. So I think we're going to have to do Rod's next. After we finish up with Rumpel. We'll have to do Rod's next because it's the only one that's available to us. And then we still have to figure out what's going on with Fritz. Because he's not here in this route either. In the last route he was killed. In this route, like, he's already killed or put away or whatever. The Princess, Chevalier, I just thought I'd let you know that when Parfait came into this battle, she expected to die. She told all of us that while we were sitting around trying to plot a rescue plan. I glanced at Chevalier, who nods quietly. Was it because of her frailty after the Great War, or did Parfait somehow have a feeling? Oh, also, congratulations on breaking your curse, Princess. Chevalier sits up straight, his eyes narrowed behind his glasses. Waltz, I was supposed to congratulate her first. Chevalier stands and kisses me promptly on the cheek. My cheeks flush, and even Waltz looks embarrassed. PDA. Congratulations, my sweet. It was all very dramatic when your curse broke. There was this bright light and... Wait. Why was there no bright light when I broke my curse? Because you're not a princess. Both Waltz and I burst into laughter. Chevalier just sighs dramatically. He leans against my shoulder and I do not protest. I have a feeling that getting through the memory of last night might be easier with him here. If anyone can put a smile on my face, it's Chevalier. We hope to see you again at the Marchant soon, Princess. I will be back. After all, I have friends there. Did I speak falsely? No, of course not. It's the truth. Anyway, I need to get going. I've explained what happened to your father, but you should talk with him privately soon. After everything that happened last night, speaking to the king is the last thing on my mind, but I suppose it must be done. Thank you, Waltz. And you, Chevalier, might want to ask for a guest room. But no bed is as comfy as the princess's. I nudge him without realizing it, but Chevalier just laughs. We promise Waltz that we will see him and everyone else in the Marchant soon. Afterward, Waltz hurries out and shuts the door. My eyes go to the edge of the bed where something shiny catches my eyes. Is it the box? Oh no. Damn it, I want to know what's in the box. The glass zippers are a reminder of everything that happened yesterday. Of the fact that life goes beyond just black and white. Good and evil are subjective. In the end, life is gray, Mother. Both good and bad. Even so, even though the fairy tale endings cannot exist, I still want to live my life with everyone else. Mithras centered his life around a single person. He was selfish. I will become better than him. Thinking about Mithras makes me remember something. Chevalier, yesterday you said that you took care of Mithras during the Great War, that no one came for him. Was that true? I don't know, Evillan. He acted like it was, though, wasn't it? So you never knew Mithras? No, I didn't know him at all. I don't know if I'd been able to strike him down if I did. I don't know what burden he carried, but it seemed heavy. I only guessed at what I could say to distract him. I'd heard murmurs of a strong witch that went abandoned for many years. That may have been him, it might not have been. So deception exists in everyone, but it is not entirely what Mother said it was. Ooh. Alright, let's talk with the king real quick. My birthday is tomorrow. I sit on the throne room speaking to my father, who has already listened to my tale with patience. When it is over, he looks at me sadly. I owe you an apology, Evillan. This whole time you have been on your own, and I could do not a thing for you. You can now, starting first by explaining what happened between you and Mother. You knew she was a witch. Ooh, are we gonna get this information? Because that'd be nice. I did. You did too, before she forcefully erased your memories. I tried reaching out to you many times when you were a child, but my efforts were met with resistance. Still, I cannot excuse myself for what I've done. I truly abandoned you, and I'm sorry for that, Evillan. You did abandon us. It was awful. I'll explain the story to you if you give me time, but for now I would very much like to mend my bond with you. To be honest, the king still angers me. He only apologizes now, after all of this has come to light. Whether or not it was difficult to speak to, he still had an obligation to seek me out. He was still late to care, but he is still my father, and I can forgive him. Ooh, that's better than what we were at the beginning of the story. I can learn to trust him again. It will take time, but I would like to mend our bond. I would also like to try speaking with Emmeline, Rod, and Ophelia, but that will take time. The king smiles at me. It's one of the first honest smiles I've seen from him in years. We have time, all the time in the world, and we will amend our family bond, I promise. As I turn to leave the room, the king calls out to me. Evillan, I'm proud of you, more proud than any other father in the realm could ever be of his child. After what happened, we searched for Fritz, but he has vanished. Mithras and Varg had said that they had replaced him, but they never said anything about what happened to him. Yeah. We searched endlessly, but to no avail. All I can hope is that he is safe, and that I will reunite with him again in the future. Oh, Walt's performance today was amazing. Don't you agree, Mr. Chevalier? I agree. You ladies look especially charming with so many lilies floating around you. Oh my. He always speaks like that. Do not mind him. It has been a whole month since the events at the palace. My birthday has come and gone. Now my life begins. I've been practicing magic with Waltz and Delora, attempting to bond with my family and visiting the merchant when time allows me to. Anise was overjoyed to see me visiting often. Since Chevalier operates from there as a doctor, I visit often. Mostly, though, he clings to me like a leech. Oftentimes I find him in my bed when I could have sworn he was sleeping in another room for the night. Sometimes at night he has nightmares of blood on his hands and of Mithras' death. And at those times I'm glad to be sitting right beside him so I can promise him that things are still alright. As for the fairy tale curse, I have no idea how Evillan puts up with you. Rod's voice comes out from between his lips. Now he can actually speak. His curse got broken too! Oh, so many successes in this round. Since the fairy tale curse was tied to Mother's still living soul in the crystal, her disappearance and my taking her place immediately caused the root to vanish. Okay. I've been working for days to break everyone's fairy tale curses with magic, and when I'm done, no one in this kingdom will have to suffer from it again. And now the merchant is not just a place reserved for the cursed, now it is open to the public. Evillan enjoys it though. She finds my poetic weavings to be the best in the kingdom. What he means to say is I can only put up with them because of our relationship. Loving someone so much you can put up with their nonsensical poetry. I thought you were the nice one, Princess Emmeline. No, she has a point. Emmeline focuses her attention on a musician standing off in the distance. She points excitedly, then rushes after him, pulling her brother with her. Her guards follow. Ever since the incident at the palace, we've had more security. I do not blame the king, though it can be tiring at times. Luckily, he's more lax with me. When I told him Chevalier was going to be with me, he settled with having Emmeline and I share guards. And so I get to be alone with Chevalier often. Father was wary of him at first, until he found out that he was a renowned doctor. Now he and Chevalier get along well enough. Chevalier takes a step closer to me and I place my hands around his arm. Aww, that's cute. I am no prince, nor am I a knight in shining armor. I'm just a doctor who's been blessed with the most beautiful woman in this world. Chevalier begins to lead me through town again. He is one of the only constants in my ever-changing life. He is the one that will always make me smile, and we share a burden, the burden of a friend's death. He's more burdened with nightmares than I am, and while I wish I could do more to help, I can at least listen to him, just like he listens to me. No matter the burden, it can be overcome. Evillan? Yes? I love you, more than anything in this world. I love you too. We share one kiss, ignoring the spectators in the crowd with a shared smile. Then we follow after Emmeline. P-D-A. P-D-A. Woo! Karuko? Good job. Anyways, that was great. Rumpel's ending was nice and satisfactory. I am curious about what his bad end is. Maybe we'll do that before we leave. Gotta watch all the credits first. Gotta appreciate all these amazing people that worked on this game. Even though it's through the cursive, I can't read like any of them. But Y'all did a great job. This was so much fun. Do you guys have fun listening to the Rumpel route? I like the piano in the background. It's very nice. Rumpel's route was not what I expected it would be. Like, I wasn't expecting to have to be so harsh with him at all times. It was kind of hard to figure out what his motivations for us were and like what he wanted us to do and how to react. But it was just kind of more like staying true to Evillan's like personality than anything else. And then we slowly fell in love and it was so sweet. I love it. And all these wonderful Kickstarters. Thank you for playing Cinderella Phenomenon. I know, finally. It was such a long journey. Oh, it's Daisuke. I always thought it was Isuke. I was missing the D. This is an insane game. It's pretty crazy. Let's see if we can get his bad route first. We just have to make a wrong choice, I think. And then I think... Let's see, let's start here. We'll just skip. I've unlocked Fritz's and Waltz's routes! Hey! I was just talking about that! Hell yeah! Alright, we'll do Fritz and Waltz a different day, but hell yeah! Alright, let's click the abdomen. We already know that. We'll skip to the next choice. Yeah, they're still faster to die from the wound to the neck. Still, what you're suggesting would allow people to live for a long while without treatment. Most would probably die from either infection or blood loss. The place you'd actually want to stab or slice is part of the neck. Yep. I just want to get his end real quick. It should be pretty quick. We'll go quietly. Nothing I can do in this situation. He would easily muffle my words and maybe even gag me. If I'm not careful, he might even kill me, and I cannot die here. Oh, we have plenty of this game to save for other days. This should be really, really quick, I promise. But if you're not going to act first, then I will. He opens the vial. Yep, and we smell the formaldehyde. I am indeed the crown princess. I told you before, Your Majesty, but I was cursed and you did not believe me. I'm indeed the crown princess. Oh yeah. Oh, it's because I clicked on the thing. No one remembers who I am. I would remember my own daughter. I flinch, a pained look coming onto the king's face as he stares at me. Oh, Rod. Mithras is sighing, smiling slyly at the end of the table, looking pleased by the further confusion I have caused. Is his purpose only to confuse everyone further? What kind of mind game is he playing? We'll skip this. Oh, getting a little skippy. Hold on. There we go. Oh, I guess it doesn't... What happens? Does it still... Oh, did we still get the good ending? That's strange. Can I skip through this? There we go. Wonder if we have to go back further. I don't really want to go back all the way though. That would take too long. I was hoping it would just be a couple wrong choices and then we'd get the bad end. So, alright, we'll keep his bad end for a different day. I'll edit it together in the video later when we do it next time. So, Anyways, thanks for joining me today, guys. I hope you liked this game. I'm going to be playing more of it, so hold out for that. And if you're interested in the other games that I'm playing right now, 99 Spirits and Okami, I have some videos on the YouTube /@princessevillan VODs. So go check out my VODs channel and see more of the games that we're playing. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. We're going to be playing Okami, so have fun with that. I'll see you guys later. Thanks. Bye.